What's up, everybody? We are live, Nick. Bye, babe. I don't know. You check on me. Sorry, that was my wife. We are live, Nick, for the Nick and CJ show. Another episode on this Monday, 8 p.m. Eastern. What's up, Nick? How you doing?
Doing good. Always be good to be here on Monday with CJ. We had a good time with James yesterday on the JV show. We had a long post Christmas stream. Hope all you guys had a great holiday season, all that stuff. So it's good to be with you, CJ.
Absolutely. And before we get to some stories, and we do got many options for stories today. Before we get to stories, I just want to do a little bit of housekeeping. Make sure you like this video. Make sure you share this video. Anything we do, any sort of subscribers we get, any sort of views we get, is really based on our audience. We already know, these platforms are not doing us any favors. So like this video, share this video. If you are able to submit a super chat, we are asking if you would just donate directly to us. And if you send that, we do get it instantly, so we will read those on the air. And the reason we're saying that is because YouTube does take quite a bit of the funds, so just keep that in mind. They are a capitalist organization. So that's out the way, Nick. Let's get to the first story. And I think this was a buzz when I first woke up. It's so weird, Nick. When I wake up, like all of you are already talked about the stories for like several hours and stuff. By the time I get up on the West Coast,
You
did you
fucking
find
West Coast.
it? Yeah, when I get
Well,
when I
West
get up on
Coast.
the West Coast, I already have my feed already set up with everything already. But anyway, when I woke up with this, your story actually popped up. This story that you put out. Let me share my screen so everybody can see what I'm talking about. This was actually the first article in my stream when I uh, went on Twitter today, and that was this article you tweeted out from The Nation, and it's titled "We Mobilize Young People to Support Biden. He's Failing." And this is an article from The Nation website. You see their authors right there. And it's basically, Nick, a article. I mean, you know this, you tweeted it out. It's basically an article where it's basically laying out the reasons on why not the reasons why, but it's laying out how Biden made all of these promises to the young voters, and they came out and voted for him. They, door knocked during a pandemic in these unsafe environments, and did all of this campaigning for Joe Biden on these promises that he was going to do, which he has wholeheartedly have failed at. So Nick, I know you saw the article. I want to go over your tweet, but I do want to let you kind of, read it, I guess. And then we'll comment on the other side. But let me put your tweet up here since
I don't remember why I tweeted.
yeah, let me put your tweet up because again, your tweet was the first thing I saw when I got up today. A second here. All right, Nick. And Nick. All right, now I can share my screen again. And if you are in the comments, please, if you are a young voter who are no longer supporting Joe Biden or have ever supported Joe Biden, please make those your thoughts be known. You see any comments, Nick, that you think are?
Yeah, shout out to a lot of friends of the show, but the question is now what though? Now what? You got a lot of people that upset with the Democratic Party. Now what the question? What are you gonna do now? Are you gonna continue to organize and canvass and mobilize for Democrats? Because that would a lot of people want to convince you that the answer is to just elect more Democrats, even though the Democrats that you fought to get elected continue to fail you. So once again, I want to break the cognitive dissonance of the lesser two evils, because a lot of these same people who writing these articles now, like these people writing articles now, like, oh my God, Joe Biden's failing us. How dare he betray us? I'm like, you guys really believe Jim Crow Joe on his campaign promises when he was trying to win the office of the most powerful country in the planet, and you guys believed him? So once again, I just want people to take this as a learning lesson, because the answer is now what? Now that you guys are seeing that the Joe Biden is failing them, and the Democratic Party is failing on all their promises. And we reported this on our show before, and a lot of people don't talk about this. But even though you had Joe Manchin and you had Christian Cinema that is tanking a lot of the Biden agenda, there was blue dog Democrats that was speaking undercover and in the cover anonymity, right?
Right.
And it was like, if it wasn't for Joe Biden and Chris Cinema, it would be us. And we're thankful for them because they give them cover. So now
I saw that article.
Yeah, the smart thing for them to do is to pretend to support Biden agenda, so you don't take no heat, right?
Right.
You just want to continue to collect donations, lay low, raise money, and win your re-elections. But now people are saying, like, okay, so no matter how much we fight for the Democrat Party, no matter how much we canvass, no matter how much we donate, not only are things changing, Biden and his administration is objective. Like, I'm ready to say it. I'm ready to call it, CJ. It's been a year.
Say it.
And thus far, and again, thank God we have great accounts like holding Biden accountable that tracks this stuff, because now we got it on paper. Like, all right, if you want to question me for saying this right now, as it is right now, Biden is worse than Trump. And I'm not saying that Trump is the lesser of evil. Because remember, we don't believe in lesser of two evils. No. So me saying that not me saying that, oh, we should support Trump, right? That's stupid. What I'm saying is, it's objectively true that, like, ICE was expanded, right? Mandatory minimums was expanded. Student loan debt is, well, I guess he paused it, but he's not canceling it, right? But people are being crushed under neoliberalism and capitalism the same way as Trump. I see some person in the comments, he said, I'm sorry, I would rather have Trump. There are a lot of people that's trying to say, because at least under Trump, like, the thing is, I know it's difficult. I know it's a difficult pill to swallow, guys. But you gotta understand, if we get in the same thing, wouldn't it be better for us to have a giant resistance neoliberal army? At least putting the message out there, because we had giant protests under Trump. Where are they at under Biden? You know what I mean? They're crushed under.
No, I was saying this, Nick. I was saying this, and I mean, I couldn't say it too loudly, because at the time, if you said that, can you imagine in November if you said what you just said?
I did. I did.
You caught a backlash, didn't you? Catch a backlash?
Remember, I showed you guys my worst ratio of all time.
Yeah,
my worst ratio that was it. Time. I told you guys. I'm gonna pull it up again while we continue. I think I got a good transition for you guys. I'm not right now, but I'm gonna dig it up while you continue to.
Yeah.
I'm gonna dig up what I said that got me fucking destroyed on Twitter by John Legend and his fans. And I went over it on my show a while ago, and I told you guys, I'm like, I'm not gonna delete the tweet. I was ratioed. I took my lick, but I'm like, bro, I'm gonna come back at this tweet. I'm gonna told you guys I was fucking right. Anyway, go ahead.
No. You can't say anything like what we're saying now about Joe Biden and Donald Trump. And I was saying at the time that I much rather a Donald Trump presidency, not because I think Donald Trump is going to be the better of two evils, is because Americans seem to need a person to hate. So when that person in the White House went away, Nick, when the person who we all hated in the White House went away, and this person who essentially is the same person carrying out the same sort of policies, but he's different. He can talk better. He's happier. He smiles. He's more friendly, right? But it's the same sort of policies. I'd much rather the person that ignites a lot of resistance, as you said, and that is Donald Trump. Because just look at the protests. Are there protests going on now? Are there? I mean, even the media was scrutinizing Donald Trump that they're not doing with Joe Biden. So all of this, from the mainstream media, from liberals, all went to sleep when Donald Trump became president. That would not have happened. I'm sorry, when Joe Biden became president, that would not have happened if Donald Trump became president. And that is my point.
Yeah, I found it. I'm gonna share this because I actually shared this on the JV stream, but I'm gonna probably share this a few times. To be honest with you guys,
let me take that out.
This is my homie on Twitter. Much love and appreciation for his page. I haven't followed his page since he's created it, because me and him, we pretty much have the same role. Or they? Sorry, I don't want to assume gender here, but holding Biden accountable. Damn, they up to 110,000 followers now.
Wow.
Which every single one of those are deserved, by the way. I'm telling you guys, this is a good account. So when I say, once again, I don't believe in lesser two evils, but once again, we gotta call it how it is. Like if you look at the objective reality, you would say that Barack Obama bombed more people than George W. Bush Jr.
Mm-hmm.
They're not saying that George W. Bush Jr. is the lesser two evils over Barack Obama. It is objectively saying that Barack Obama bombed more people.
Right.
It just and that same thing is saying Donald Trump bombed more people than Barack Obama. He drawn more people than Barack Obama. That's true. Now, so when I say that objectively speaking on many of these things that I find most dear, Biden is objectively worse. Like once again, no opinions. Biden versus Trump. More COVID cases, more COVID deaths. He has a vaccine. Biden has the vaccine, but he had more COVID deaths this year than Donald Trump did.
People don't talk about that, Nick. That is very key, that he has a vaccine and he has more death. That is key. Go ahead, Nick.
They want you to hate your neighbor, but now Biden administration come out. I don't got the story ready. Maybe I'll cover it later tonight if I dig up. But you know, CJ, do you see the story where the Biden administration now said, hey, yo, you know, by the way, there's no federal response to COVID. So they waving the white flag. They gave up.
Saying it's a state level now.
And I got to dig it up. We can probably cover that later, CJ. But it's actually very significant. I see a lot of people talking about it today. Where the Biden administration pretty much say, yo, there's not federal response. And CJ, and I remember when the election was going on, people was like, the audacity for you not to vote for Joe Biden because Joe Biden said he's going to get COVID under control. Remember this? I remember like people was like, Donald Trump COVID handling is so bad that we have to support someone else because at least the Democratic Party will at least be competent on COVID.
Right.
Remember that, CJ?
Yes.
They went from that, and now they're like fucking unvaccinated people. There's nothing we can do. And then people fall for it too. They hate.
Yeah, and that's the thing. How are I don't understand how are people? Well, I do understand how people are falling for this, and because they're watching Fox News and CNN and MSNBC. But it's so easy to see, Nick. What if you don't watch propaganda? It's so easy to see. Hang on a second here. I do see some good comments that just went away.
I'm gonna go back to this because
I like that one. Abolish Dems. That is true. Or Dem exit. Same person. Love the comments. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh wait. I lost it. There it is. So that we just get started. So COVID deaths. We got more COVID deaths. And the one thing I think that's very funny because, and I actually we talked about this weeks ago. I tweeted about this weeks ago. Anyway, oil drilling. He actually expanding public drilling on public lands more than Trump. I covered that on my show. All these things I cover all these things on this list on this show. Meanwhile, everyone else they want to tell you how evil Jimmy Dore is. They want to tell you if you look at other shows, they're like, oh Ben Shapiro, look at what he's talking about. Look at what Fox News is talking about. You see how they do everything they can to deflect from what Biden has done. And I say my theory is, and CJ, I want to get your thoughts on this. My theory, I believe them going after the Medicare for All March, them going after the General Strike Summit, them constantly fear-mongering over Jimmy Dore, them doing all these things where they constantly fear-monger over the Red Brown Alliance, fueling culture war. All that is a distraction so they can't admit they told people to vote for someone that was worse than Trump. Because imagine, once again, all the props to people like Dr. Cornel West, because Dr. Cornel West, he voted for Biden, but he held his feet to the fire from day one.
Right.
But a lot of people, they don't want to do that because they know that'll make them look bad. Then their audience was like, that one thing, Dr. Cornel West, he not trying to like appease the audience, right? He just have honest takes. Like I think he's being honest in all his takes, right?
Right.
But if you have an audience, especially a shit-lib audience, like if you're TYT or whatever, and you tell everyone to vote for Biden, you can't then like go super hard against Biden, and people be like,
"You told me to vote. You told me to vote for him. What are you talking about?" But that is a great point, and I never thought of it like that because when you're talking about these people who were one way before this presidency, and in particular, I always bring up David Dole, not because I dislike him, because I watched a lot of his videos. I bring up, I think that's how you say his name, but I bring up David because he was a completely different person pre Joe Biden versus after Joe Biden. And I think it's because he told people to vote for, pick the lesser of two evils, vote for Joe Biden. And now you can't go back on that. It's like, it's a matter of pride almost. People don't want to admit that they were wrong, right, Nick? And that the person they told people to vote for is terrible. And is actually, you're pointing out, is worse than Donald Trump. Go ahead, Nick.
People still have a lot of pride when it comes to taking over the Democratic Party. Like the people who advocated that very early on, they don't want to admit that failed. Because I was one of the people, I was like, oh, let's see. Because my ideology to this day is taking all your shots. And I did. I took all my shots. I was like, all right, let's take my shot with electoral politics. Let's see if that works. I'm going to try this out. And like, I gave it a good shot. I gave it a good go, man. I gave it a good go. And then I concluded like, nah, I'm good. But the people who are like invested, the people who said from day one, once again, these people built the Justice Democrats. Like Jenkins, one of the founding co-founders, right? So you can't just turn around and like, damn, that failed horrifically. I think Kyle has criticized the Justice Democrats a lot, but it's like
I've seen them criticize them. Yeah.
But it's like if you base your entire like political messaging on like, oh shit, we can take over the Democrat Party, we gotta let progressives. You can't even talk about objective facts like them helping siding and funding the police state more, them objectively siding with the Palestinian genocide with Israel. I mean, I'm not talking, and they're not standing for Julian Assange. Like, I'm not talking about like right wing talking points, right? I'm not talking about, oh my God, Ilhan Omar brother. I'm not the AOC is a like like the right wing talking points. I don't even know them. They're so. I hear right wing talking points against progressives. I'm like, you guys are trying to help them out. Like these is like not even good talking points. But anyway, my point is people get so like attached to these ideas. People were attached to the idea of Biden being better than Trump, and there's no way. And I know, guys, it's shocking, like the idea that there's no way that this guy can be worse than Trump. But I remember, and to my horror, at December Tuesday, I told you guys the reason why I didn't vote for Biden. I said this many times on my whole show. I'm like, God, you could, especially when I wasn't as radical as I was back then. And I remember at the time, I'm like, guys, there's so many people you guys could have picked. I could have bit the bullet for. You know what I mean? There was like the original list. A1 had that original list, and then more people got added on. But for me, when the whole thing started, my original list was Amy Klobuchar, Joe Biden, Michael Bloomberg. And then I added more. But I was like, all right, don't pick those three. And I see if I can work with you. And just to defeat Trump. That was my mind was. After voting for Trump, I'm like, all right, let's see. But then they picked Biden. and people was making the argument that this man was the lesser of two evils. And once again, I'm way to the left now. I don't know if that would be my same position now. But at the time, I was like, let's see what the field look like. Let's see what Toasty look like. Let's see if Warren gets better. Let's see. And remember, that was before Pete Buttigieg shifted to the right, because Pete at first he was like, maybe I support Medicare for all. So I was like, maybe one of the young people, if they're not completely shitty. But over time, I'm like, all right, this dude horrible, this guy horrible, this guy horrible. But Biden, my point is, he was on the original list of there is no way in fucking hell that you can convince me to vote for this guy, because I know his record. I know who he is. And so do you guys understand how crazy I went? How crazy Rome went? How crazy JB went? I know these people for a while, ever since then. These are my friends from the campaign. How crazy a lot of us went where there was this giant schism on the left. People losing friendships. People canceled me. While I led the charge of like, fuck that. Voting for Biden, the chief architect of the crime bill.
Let me ask you this, Nick, because you're talking about, I feel like you're describing something like a schism. Now, this is just me talking off the top of my head, and I want our audience to participate in this. Do you feel all the disarray that the left is in, the inability of the left, the American left, to do anything, do you feel it's the case because of these people that we're talking about? These are the people that's leading the left. And do you feel it's because they're white?
CJ,
do you feel like the left is unsuccessful because the people who are leading the left are literally well-off white people? You know what I mean? Like, it's not anything to say against, the Mikes, the David Doles, the Kyles. Like, they have good takes, and we would be in a line with them a lot. But a lot of times, Nick, when I'm hearing these back and forth on Twitter, and for example, it's like what I'm saying in my head is people of leftists who are people of color need to stay out of these tit for tat, these white leftists. They need to stay out of this stuff. Bringing up Jimmy Dore and bringing up really, because people of color, trans leftists, they have a lot more other shit important. You get what I'm saying? Than to say, hey, so and so said this, and I'm not. They don't have white leftists. These white leftist leaders, these people who we're talking about, they just don't have these issues. It's not like it's them. It's not like they're doing anything intentional. But if their issue isn't food insecurity, how can they speak to that? You get what I'm saying? Go ahead, Nick.
So yeah, podcasting and taking down doors like their biggest concern. And I don't know if you've seen the recent story. Like Jimmy was just he was talking about it. Like everyone, this is the big new story that was going out. Me and JB, we briefly touched on it. Everyone's talking about this right now, so we don't have to dive in that deep. But I'm showing this more to CJ because I love getting CJ reaction to shit because I'm way more online than he is. So
wait, go ahead. Tell me what that said.
Leaked files exposed serious psyop. So BreadTube was the BreadTube in the UK was caught being an intelligence operation front. So Abigail Thorne is apparently this very popular UK YouTuber, and she told the establishment line pretty much. Well, she marketed herself as anti-establishment. You know the people we talk about.
Yeah.
Anti-establishment, but then you told the intelligent community line. That's what she was found. Leaked documents have revealed a state-sponsored influence operation designed to undermine critics of the British government's coronavirus policies by astroturfing prominent founder of BreadTube clique of anti-fascist YouTubers. So Jamie just talked about today, Max Blumenthal being on it. Caleb did a good job breaking the story. My boy Jackson Hinkle, he was covering on this show. I'm gonna have him on. I'm gonna be on this stream here very soon. But this story is big, man, because they're supposed to
BreadTube. What is BreadTube again? BreadTube
the people we're talking about. The people we're talking about.
What is the term BreadTube? Is that?
So BreadTube is and they define it in the article. I'm going to use their official definition.
Okay,
but the way I would describe it is BreadTube is these people. Vosh is an example of this. This guy, he lives in Beverly Hills. This dude is very wealthy, makes a lot of money playing video games on Twitch as well. Then he just calls himself a leftist, and then just hijack leftist thought. Then they put CIA talking points. He was pushing the CIA talking points on Syria with Jackson Hinkle. He debated him and destroyed him on that. So it's their job, and think about what their job is. Their job is to obsess. And Vosh is one of the people. And Sean, who also quoted this article, these people, they obsess over Jimmy Dore. They obsess over calling people on the left, like Fiorella Isabel, ourselves. We got hit with that in the Jones Strike Summit, remember?
Yeah, I remember.
Red Brown Lions. You guys are working with conservatives. So this is an op designed to divide the left. Now, to be fair, I do want to add this in here. They expose UK BreadTubers, but the point that Blumenthal, who wrote this piece, he lies out this is just scratching the surface, guys. If you guys don't think these people who are propped up by the algorithm to prop Russiagate, a lot of these progressives, they prop Russiagate. You guys think that's not pushed by the algorithm by the CIA? Mm-hmm. I know Jimmy. He literally just did a stream talking about this. So I don't want to make this about the whole stream because he had a ton of people watching that. He just talk about this some more. But I'm gonna have Jackson on because Jackson Hinkle. Maybe I'll have Caleb on. I'm gonna see. Cause I know Caleb and Jackson close. Let's go through this. Sorry.
So it's like Brooklyn Dad too. Didn't he get paid? Yeah, but it's sort of the same thing. Is that what you're saying?
They pretend to be socialists. Maybe we should read a little bit more because this is a long article. I don't want to spend a ton of time. Let's see if I can find the good parts. BreadTube speaks in the name of left-wing sounding ideas in reality is likely serving one section of the American ruling elite intelligence agencies. And CJ, once again, these are the people, and we're going to get back to the Biden story. We didn't abandon this, but I think this is actually very critical because I had a debate with Vosh and we talked about Biden, and everything I told him about Biden is proven to be true because he was advocating for voting for Biden. I told him, like, you're a fucking idiot if you think you're going to vote for Biden. And people were like, oh my God, SocialistMMA, he's so mean. He was yelling at him. But meanwhile, they were ignoring the substance of my argument. And what he said, he was like, we got to vote for Biden because the platform, bro. How many items on the platform that he did? But remember, so his job as a popular streamer is to get a ton of young people to vote for Democrats. At the end of the day, like, he can sound radical. Like, they can say, oh shit, I'm a socialist. I believe in seasoning music and production. Yeah, we should eat the rich. Yeah, we should destroy Jeff Bezos. We should abolish the police. They say all that shit. But then 2022, next year, they're going to be like, bro, we got to vote for Democrats. Oh, man, we got to vote for Hillary Clinton. We got to vote for Joe Biden. And that's what they did. And they called me crazy because I was like, you guys are out of your fucking mind. If you're telling us to vote for Jim Crow Joe, and to my face, Vosh, who has been quoted in this article as well, he said black people should vote for their oppressors. That's what they talking about, man. And these people got, and I know this.
This is what I'm talking about, Nick. This is what I'm talking about. Like, all of what you're describing, the chaos, the unorganization of the left, is because the left is led by these white people like this, Nick. That's the fact. We're being led. The people who are bringing us on to leftist ideology, for example, are these white leftists. But then we are following these white leftists because they brought us on to these ideology, or, you know, the technical version of this ideology. Maybe we believe these things before.
Check this out, TJ.
Huh?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, but oh, we got a super chat. Go ahead. No, we got.
I want to try and interrupt you. I'm gonna show you guys this video to show you guys.
No, I'm just saying. It just feels, Nick. It just feels like, you know what I mean? Like, they're instigators about something that doesn't matter, and they want to keep it going as a distraction. You're right. It's a distraction. To keep it going as a distraction. Go ahead. I'm
gonna show you guys this to show you guys what these guys influence young, otherwise anti-establishment minds to believe. Because we're not covering this for no reason. This is significant. Check this out. This is unbelievable. And I'll let this video speak for itself.
Crystal Ball dismantles MSNBC lies about Assange. Hey, can I be real with you guys? Okay. I want Assange to die in a CIA black site just because it would trigger all the worst people on Twitter. Can I be real with you guys? I don't even remember.
Can you pause that? Can you pause that right there? There's no person who is really considered a left would ever say anything like that. Never. Never. And Nick, this is the very first time I've even seen this person or even heard his voice, because I purposely avoid stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to rack my mind with more stupid shit.
And
there's no way he's a leftist. He's all in that.
Yeah, I apologize for showing this to you guys, but I promise you guys I have a point. I have a point, guys. I'm projecting this to you guys because I have a point here because I'm covering this article. So this is painful, but I want you guys to understand these people, their platform is thousands of times
right.
So and once again, the person who was quoting that article, Albago Thorne, I always fuck her name up. I apologize. I'm not trying to diss you, but she got they got over 1 million subscribers. That's more than Jimmy Dore, guys. Mm-hmm. Like, Jimmy Dore is like, everyone talk about how big he is. 1 million subscribers is a lot of people. Like, so she reached a ton of people. And once again, these people call themselves socialists. They call themselves anti-establishment because they influence the minds of people who would otherwise be anti-establishment. That's why this is important to call out. So anyway, I want to show you guys. This is only 90 seconds. And I know it's hard to watch. But again, I talked to this guy. I was trying, like, what are you talking about? Vote for Biden. And it's just fucking theater for these people. Like, it's not real. But anyway, watch this. Watch how absurd this shit is. And once again, he is giant. This is the person that Kyle Kalinske talked to. Now, this is the person that
Crystal Ball dismantles MSNBC lies about Assange. Hey, can I be real with you guys? Okay. I want Assange to die in a CIA black site just because it would trigger all the worst people on Twitter. Can I be real with you guys? I don't even remember, like, shit about him. I don't even care. The whistleblowing shit is bullshit. It's just the worst people in the universe like Assange, and I honestly think the utility that you would get from their anger would be superior to anything you could get from like proper civil rights or whatever. Yeah, no.
That to me,
I'm good
that
for
to
30
me,
seconds. I'm good for 30 seconds, guys. But you guys get it, right?
that to me is disdain for leftist beliefs. In no way that guy is a leftist. How are you a leftist and you're saying you're against free press? That doesn't make any sense
And
whatsoever. I'm fine with him dying in prison. You're fine with a human dying just to get a reaction? That is not a leftist.
So, sorry, CJ, go ahead, man.
That is just no. I mean, you can go. It's just I don't understand because this is the first time I'm hearing him, Nick. So to you, this might be like, yeah, I already heard this dumbass. I'm hearing this guy for the first time, Nick. Like, so I'm like, this is some fucking nonsense. Who's listening to this?
And the thing is, they will always say, "Oh, well, at the end of the day, I do think Julian Assange should be pardoned." But then when you listen to them talk about him, they just shit on him all day. They will push establishment lies about him. So like, why are you doing that? Like you do it, and then they were, oh, whatever, fuck Assange supporters. So their job is to
being a leftist is not just about the bottom line. Yeah, it's about the process too, Nick. It's the process. So again, you a leftist is not gonna be flippant about Julian Assange like that. Like that's
a good point.
To me, it's telling that he is not. And Nick, why do people expect people like him to fight for police reform?
Dude,
people like him.
I had a lot of faith for Zoomers, man.
He's rich. Why would he do that?
I had a lot of faith for Zoomers, man. But then when I saw that Zoomers love Hassan and Vosh, I was like, fuck. They got him. Damn, I thought this generation might be dope. Once again, to be fair, I used to like Stephen Colbert. I used to like Bill Maher, right? When I was young. But this is the people they watch. And Vosh, and once again, they quote him here because and Max Blumenthal's argument against him is Vosh's his job is to be a leftist that attack people who challenges government narratives, that challenge people that push the establishment to the left. And I remember he would, and I always quote this on my show because this is one of the few times I was watching this big debate he was having with Charlie Kirk or some right wing dude, and they were talking about reparations. And just to let you guys know the joke of political discourse, he was the leftist representation for the debate for reparations against Charlie Kirk. And then CJ, it gets worse. Charlie Kirk pushed on him on reparations, and then he folded. He was like, "Yeah, I don't think we should have reparations that's based on race. It should be based on class."
Now you see what I meant. You're just giving examples of what I said earlier, Nick. The left in America is being ran by rich white people. Maybe that's the reason why it hasn't been successful. Maybe that's the reason, because look at Vosh. Is that how you say his name? Vosh, for example. Like, why would he vote? Why would he fight for food insecurity? Why would he fight for trans rights? Why would he fight for this stuff? He's rich and lives in Beverly Hills and plays video games and get paid money and has all these people following him. He doesn't. Why would he do that?
DJ, question. You know what he was doing while we was marching for Medicare for All? We have 5 people on this network that gave speeches during the Medicare for All marches, by the way. He was streaming video games. That's right. That shows you guys the level that they people operating on. But I don't want to hijack the stream because I want to show you guys that, because this is BreadTube. I was answering CJ's question. This is what they're talking about. Now this article is significant because once again, Max he emphasized this. Like, they caught the UK doing this, but do not get twisted. This is not just a UK thing. These people are boosted by the algorithm. This guy Vosh is randomly, artificially trending all day. Then you click on it, no tweets. Like, people are pushed by the algorithm. Like,
they absolutely are. They absolutely are.
I would end the segment with that, and then we go back to Biden. But any last thoughts? Because I don't want to go too far on that part. Any last thoughts?
No, I mean, again, I'm thinking out loud, but it feels like, because the left is like, the people who are the voices of the left, the Voshes, like, they're not saying the things that's going to get the masses of people involved, or they're not talking about the issues for people of color, for trans people, for marginalized people. They're just talking about the same sort of narratives that are put out by corporate media, and they're just kind of giving their takes on it and then throwing a little socialism in here and there. It's like, it's more, being a leftist to me is more than theory. Maybe this is what we're talking about, Nick. This is the thing where we talked about before. It's theory versus application. And there's a, white leftists like this want to just, theory, but they never have any examples of application, right? So you're telling me you're a socialist. What have you done that's a socialist, Vaush? What have you done to tell me, Hassan, that you're a socialist, or whoever is saying that they're a socialist? Like, you're saying you're a socialist. Everything you're saying is just like, almost like, Nick, it's almost like they're in a virtual world and they're just playing the character. Don't have any core beliefs about what the character in the game actually is saying. They're just, I'm playing the character and that's it.
So I want to get back to the Biden thing, because I want to show you guys. I would never delete this tweet because I was right, and I would keep coming back to the fact that I was right. So let's go back to what I was reading earlier, right? So this is the amazing tweet from Holding Biden Accountable. The guy that Voss told you to vote for over this. Once again, we was on oil drilling. Once again, this was before he extended the student loan debt, but he's not canceling it. This is gonna be another problem, and what they're gonna do? Extend it again in 6 months? I doubt it. There's gonna continue to be a problem until they had to run on it again. But until proven otherwise, they ain't doing anything about student debt. More kids in cages, more kids lost, more migrant families separated, more deportations. Once again, this is all stuff that we cover on our show, especially on the International Leftist Coalition. We cover all this. Like, if you're an ordinary watcher on this show that hit the bell, that watch all our shows, none of this shit is news to you. More ICE power, more police funding, more police militarization, more incarceration. This is the only one I don't really understand. More murders. I guess that's like crime, but I don't know. Whatever. More military spending. Biden just confirmed, and I think that it's official, the $780 billion military budget. That is more than Trump. More than Trump.
Yes.
More weapons and aid to the genocidal Saudis, the one who hacksaw journalists. More weapon aid to the genocidal Israelis. Illegal and cruel sanction. They continue it on Venezuela. They about to put more on Nicaragua as we speak right now. More evictions. They actually touch their tax cut for the rich. Wealth disparity worse than ever. The value of wages for the workers lower than ever. Relief checks. Trump gave you more than Biden. I know he doesn't care. I know he don't give a fuck, but that hurts Biden. Less unemployment benefits. He cut unemployment benefits compared to Trump. You get less per month. So, and I won't pass it to you, CJ, because I was just doing this presentation. Remember what I told you guys? This is probably maybe the second time I showed this tweet on this show, because this is where John Legend got me destroyed. I don't get ratioed often. I don't get ratioed often on Twitter. But this time, bro. This time, I remember when it happened. I was offline for the day. I came back, I was like, holy shit. And I tell you, bro, this is 3,000 messages of liberals melting down. And also, I shouldn't say just liberals, because there were some progressives, like the neo-progressives we were talking about. They was like wagging free, like Nick, especially this was before a lot.
I remember.
It was like, Nick, oh my God, you're a red, brown alliance. You're helping Trump. You're a Republican, aren't you? You're a Russian. So then what John Legend said, imagine thinking we have a functioning democracy if Trump get reelected.
But you didn't say we would have a functioning democracy if Trump get reelected. That's not what you said.
Yeah, like me and my homie said, like Katie, one of my homies, do you think we have one now? Like that was like a lot more people came back like, bro, what the fuck? Because they was like, bro, John Legend going after Nick, this is crazy. But then, but John Legend, he way more giant than me, right? I was getting, look at the quote tweets. That shit ain't pretty. That shit ain't pretty. But anyway, my point is, look at what I said. I'll read the whole tweet. Joe Biden loses to Trump will mark the death blow to neoliberalism. Barack Obama will be 0-2 against Trump, meaning he endorsed Hillary Clinton. Hillary Clinton She was a Barack Obama. She come from his administration, former Secretary of State. Barack Obama, his army behind her. She loses to Trump. Joe Biden, his former vice president that he endorsed and fell behind, he loses to Trump. What do you guys think will happen to public confidence in neoliberals to go against conservatives after that? They was barely hanging on by a thread in 2020. And Biden, through the force of much propaganda by Jim Clyburn, and we didn't do a whole stream on it, convinced people that Biden would be better against Trump. But there was a point where Bernie had more. Like, it was very close. So that thread was almost broken. It wasn't completely shattered, though. But CJ, and feel free to chime in. I know I'm ranting up here, but imagine, like, if they lost again. Like, people would be like, bro, never again. Like, you had Trump on his second term. You had Trump Jr. probably in the next primary. Ron DeSantis in the primary. People were like, bro, we got to defeat them. There's no way we can go with a neoliberal because we lost twice. So let's go with Nina Turner. Once again, I don't even believe in electoral politics, but I got better strategy than you guys.
Right.
So now CJ, I'm asking you guys, what's the alternative now? Right now, they're talking about Pete Buttigieg and Kamala Harris for 2024.
Oh my goodness.
Joe Biden came out recently and like, guys, I'm gonna run again. So now, under your guys' genius plan in your electoral strategy, now we have to wait for 8 years of Biden, and now Kamala to be the heir apparent. And then she's gonna run in 2028, assuming they win, right? And then she's gonna have another 8 years. So my electoral strategy was, okay, since Biden is just like Trump, like we showed, we might as well let neoliberalism die. And then we can come again in 2024, like, all right, let's find someone. 2024, beat Trump after it. Now more people are gonna be to the left. Once again, I know that strategy made people uncomfortable, but where's the flaw in it? Now look at where we are right now. Now we got at least 12 years.
Well, this is what they're going to say. Our democracy would not have survived another Trump. I mean, I can't even say it the full sentence without laughing how ridiculous that is. But that's what their response would be. And I'm saying, and this is my response to anytime somebody says, like, Trump, our democracy, we're losing it. If Donald Trump or any person for that matter is able to make our democracy disappear in 4 or 8 years, that would mean our democracy was already in hospice care, already dying of a terminal illness. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, like, stop with the fear mongering. Stop with that. Tell me how good you are, Democrats. Tell me how good you are, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, instead of the fear mongering. Like, just imagine, Nick, we're trying to date somebody, and the only thing I can say good is I'm better than him. I'm trying to date this hot girl. She's like, tell me about yourself. I can't say anything good about myself. All I can say is that motherfucker over there is going to be worse. And that's what makes me look better. That's a terrible existence. But the people who are voting for them, Nick, I do feel sorry for them in the sense that, because when I was a liberal, again, I was a liberal, but I always had that non-establishment like edge.
I feel bad for him.
That's what I'm getting to. It's like I feel bad because they genuinely feel like I genuinely felt these were my only options. Yeah, and that's why I picked the Democrats. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not covering this for no reason, guys. I'm showing all you guys all this stuff for a reason. Because remember the article that we guys showed you. Because I'm showing you this old tweet, my ass being I got, and I'm laughing. Like I have fun laughing at myself. Like I think it's funny. Like I got my ass. This is one of my worst ass beings I ever got on Twitter. This thread. Now let me continue. People will be so disgusted with the Democrat Party lost twice to Trump that the establishment will drown and leftists will rise. Now, guys, I saw some people disagreeing with this in the comments. Now, guys, to be honest, I don't even know how I feel about this now. But remember, this is August last year. I was much more engaged in electoral politics back then, right? I don't even know how I feel about this now. Like, but my mindset then was like, all right, people were like, you lost to Trump twice, bro. Like that would hurt them down ballot. That's my theory. I think that would hurt them down ballot, and that kind of helped leftists rise. Now leftists didn't rise under Biden; they rose under Trump. That was under the squad because people was like, all right, let's try something new. People shifted to the left under Trump. So anyway, I'll finish this up real quick. Biden winning may be better for the very short term, like for the very short, immediate harm reduction. You guys believe in whatever, but Trump defeating Biden is objectively better for the progressive movement long term. Once again, I told you guys, this is still August of 2020. Like this is back when I still kind of believed in taking over the Democrat Party. So you guys got working that operation. So my mindset was, all right, if you believe in taking over the Democrat Party, letting Joe Biden lose is better because that means 4 years we can just challenge him again. Instead of now, you guys think the Democrats gonna let you primary? Like, are you fucking kidding? Are you out of your fucking mind? I'm hearing Bernie Sanders mention the idea of primary in Obama, and he was almost censored for the Senate. Like, you guys really think you guys are gonna let that happen? So for one, so remember that's the context where I'm coming from here. So this is the last part. This is the part I do. Out everything I say here, this is the part that I still maintain to this day. Biden winning emboldened neoliberalism and crushes the left. So once again, all this other stuff I may have changed, and we can still debate on this other stuff. But I do maintain this last line 100%.
I agree.
Biden winning that election made the Democratic Party neoliberalism strong, bro. Like, even if they lose in 2022, they good, bro, because they can ramp up Trump, the random syndrome, Republican, the random syndrome, head in and get in 2024. I think they are screwed in 2024, but I don't think they're done for the count. Because I think the Republican Party is going to take power, and then people are going to realize Republicans are crazy. Then Kamala and Pete may win. Then people will realize they suck again. Then the fascist Republican take charge. They're like, oh shit, we're gonna get rid of fat. I really think they got you by the balls.
I would hate to be a Democratic voter at this point. But just think of the lineup, Nick. I mean, Kamala Harris. I mean, Joe Biden, if he's still alive and able to, look normal. I heard Hillary Clinton too, like thinking about running, and it's like, I mean, and then there's Pete Buttigieg. It's like just awful options. But there was a comment here. I think it was by JB. I did want to discuss. I see a bunch of friends in the audience. There's Aaron. Aaron, you got to get on the show when you can, Aaron.
Aaron said Democrat Party is a right-wing party, and yeah, we gotta keep repeating that. Like, and I remember AOC wasn't afraid to say that before during the primary. She was like, to be real, me and Joe Biden shouldn't even be in the same party. And now she's like a Biden bro.
Yeah, now you notice she doesn't say. What do you think happened to her? You notice she doesn't talk like that anymore.
No, I told you guys my theory before. Like, it's easy to sound anti-establishment when you have Bernie running potentially for president, and you're going against Trump. But I remember a lot of people to my left was like, Nick, you still soft on the squad and Bernie, because I remember a lot of people turned on the squad and Bernie after Bernie endorsed Biden. And if you watch my channel, you watch my tweets, I was critical of them as well. But I told you guys that I'm like, we will really see what the squad and Bernie is about when we have a Democratic Party administration. So I was like, bro, imagine if Biden get in charge, and the only reason they told you guys to vote for Biden is because they really do. Like, once again, you can disagree with them on this point, but imagine if they really did believe that Trump was like this crazy threat, right? So they're like, all right, we're gonna back Biden just so we can beat Trump. But then once Biden wins, they go all in against Biden. Like, we're gonna have impeachment proceedings for bombing Afghanistan kids. Like, they're the number one enemies. I'm like, well, let's see if they're gonna do that. Then, since they haven't done that, I'll bet on their ass, and people hate me for doing this because they hold water for a Biden Democratic Party. And the people who had all the criticism, like Chris Hedges was right about Bernie. All the people who had criticism of AOC and the squad, they was right about them. And I was like, let's see what they do under Biden. And they could have not been more disappointing to me. Like, you could not have disappointed me more. I'm gonna get to this too, because this is the last point of my presentation, because this is going back to the original article. Because remember what I said, we went through all this stuff right here on how Biden compares to Trump, right? Now we have this article.
Yeah.
We built all this up to talk about this, because this is what we warn people. And now he failed us for all the stuff that we went over just now. All the reason we just went over just now, he failed us and let us go. And I don't know why people were surprised. This is the last time I really want to share, and then we can start talking to some comments. And we can riff some more. But check this out. This never left my mind. From the second that this came out.
Yeah, I remember that.
The second that this came out, I'm like, there's no way that young people will ever vote for this guy, right? I'm still shocked. people did vote for. I was still shocked that people fell in line for this guy. And I told you guys, I don't mind that people have Trump derangement syndrome, but Joe Biden, really? Really? Anyway, so I'm not gonna hype the video up more. Most of you guys seen this.
Yeah.
Let me mute my mic and let's play again why these people should never, ever believe in Biden to begin with.
You know, shortly after I graduated in '68, Kent State, 17 kids shot dead. And so the younger generation now tells me how tough things are. Give me a break. No. I have no empathy for it. Give me a break. Because here's the deal, guys. We decided we were going to change the world, and we did.
Who is we when he says that?
We decided to change the world, and we did. And they did. They did. For the worst. Like, they destroyed the world.
Yeah, shipping jobs overseas. Like, what exactly does he mean?
And you guys see the laughs?
did.
You guys see the laughs from the shit-lib audience? Haha, fucking kids. You
Yeah.
don't have fucking problems. Fuck your problems. We had it worse. Even though we can afford houses in our 20s, we can go to college without being in debt. We had a future because our fucking climate wasn't being deteriorated in front of our eyes. Education was affordable for our kids. But
Nick, it's such a lack of wanting to understand the youth. It's not only, it's like you're saying, like in that laugh, it's like I don't have any empathy. It's like there is not even an inkling of wanting to even understand what young people are going through. It's amazing to me. And maybe it's boomers or just the older generation who grew up with some of the things you just mentioned, Nick, being able to go to school without going in debt, being able to be a shoe salesman and afford a mortgage or something like that. Growing up in that world, and then you go, oh, well, you know, you're just thinking like this is, well, I was able to do this and I was able to do this. You're not even taking in consideration all of the new barriers that these young people have. Not at all. Like the income inequality being just off the charts, like union participation being down by like 15-20%. Like none of this is being taken into consideration when they're criticizing young people, and I just think that it's a mistake. But I do want to Nick, read one part of this article, like a section of this article right here, and I'll read it right now. So, when we mobilized young people to the polls last year, we handed Democrats everything they needed. They needed a governing majority and a popular mandate. We risked our lives to knock on doors through a pandemic. We agitated, organized, and convinced our communities who were skeptical because they have been let down time and time again by the Democratic Party to vote for Biden and Democrats across the country. Young people trusted Democrats to really get things done, yet not even a full year into his presidency, Biden and congressional Democrats are failing to follow through on their campaign promises because of the Jim Crow filibuster and unelected parliamentarian and corporate Democrats like Joe Manchin. But I want to zero in on this part of this sentence here. We organized, agitated, and convinced our community who were skeptical. You convinced people who were skeptical to vote for you. You're never getting those people back. You're never getting those people back, ever. Ever. Like, you can't do that to people. You can't tell people $2,000 checks in Georgia and then send them $1,400 and then be like, come vote for me again.
Bro,
you can't.
I remember I covered a story about there are a lot of people in Georgia that's like, fuck the Democrat Party now. Remember, imagine all the progressives that sold and threw their credibility in the trash, telling people they're going to get $2,000 checks if they won that Georgia Senate race. And now look, and I'm glad you brought that up, CJ. That's such a good point. They convinced people that was otherwise skeptical of Joe Biden. What do you call that? That's a Democratic operative.
Exactly.
CJ, like,
exactly.
People because I use derogatory language. You call shit how it is. I'm a George Carlin fan. I don't like soft language. If you have someone that is canvassing in communities, that is convincing people who are otherwise skeptical of Jim Crow Joe and Donald Trump, if that person was getting people to vote for Donald Trump, they're a Republican operative. Those people also will get, and once again, that doesn't have to be inherently bad. Like if you had like a great leftist working class leader, and you're like, oh, you're a Jeremy Corbyn operative, they're like, oh, so like if you talk to global South socialists, when it comes to if you talk to Sandinista, they're like, you're a Sandinista operative. They're like, damn right I am. So, when I say that, it's not inherently bad. But when I say you're a Democratic operative, you know that's bad.
Yeah,
like,
that's
you know
bad.
that sounds bad, right?
That's bad.
Yeah, it sounds like, ugh. That's what you endorse. You lied to a ton of people. So now they're upset. But CJ, I'll let you continue.
No,
That's a great point.
No, I just think that like if you get a voter who's just, I'm a Democrat and sometimes I vote, sometimes I don't. But if you have to convince somebody who are saying already the Democrats are full of shit and they never follow through on their promises, and that person is convinced, you're never going to get that voter back. And the point I'm making is Democrats are losing voters, potential voters, that they're never going to get back, ever. So on top of that, you're awful. You're losing people just because you're lying to them, because Republicans don't have to lie, Nick. They're terrible, and they're just saying we're terrible up front. Democrats have to lie more times than often. I mean, I'm not going to say Republicans don't lie, but Democrats have to lie more often because they're the ones who are seen as the good guys. So they have to lie to cover up the fact that they're not the good guy. I'll pass it back to you, Nick.
I want to share this as well, because this goes along to your point. Because we kind of talked about this earlier, so I'm not going to be too long. Because I want to bring this point up, because your point is super interesting. Because now we see Biden is historically unpopular. Kamala Harris is historically unpopular. I'm gonna see if I can share this.
Yeah, it's like
20. And that's despite the young people, and that despite this, and even that article is like, oh my God, Joe Manchin. Even though if you look at the list, a lot of those things are executive actions that Biden is responsible for the crimes, right? So when people are like, oh my God, Joe Biden is disappointing because of Joe Manchin, that doesn't click to me, because what do Joe Manchin have to do with the fact that you're funding the Palestinian genocide more?
Exactly.
What did Joe Manchin have to do with the fact that you're funding ICE more? So that's not that. If you're a real leftist, that's not a real misdirection. Like, you know what I mean? So then what Jamal Bowman says, and once again, I have a point on this, and I'm gonna ask you this, CJ, and I'm gonna have to chat this. So this is what Jamal Bowman said. Despite everything that we covered in this hour, when I read this, think about everything that we covered. This is what Jamal Bowman said. Build Back Better is Biden's core campaign promise. No, it wasn't. There's way more campaign promises than that. Way more. But anyway, we did everything in our power to protect it and keep his word. Biden is trustworthy. I don't have to read the last part. That's the part. That's
right there, Nick.
Biden is trustworthy. So my question to you is, and once again, I brought this up for a reason. Biden is historically unpopular. Kamala Harris is historically unpopular. What do you guys think this is doing to their credibility? I brought strategy up before, and I said if these people actually gave a fuck, there is never a better time to promote progressive politics than right now.
Right now.
Because Biden and neoliberalism is on, it's the 12th round. These motherfuckers are they staggering, they're tired. They're getting destroyed in the press, like the public opinion. This is the time where you push them to the level, like, this is why you suck. So now you take the people like, yeah, Biden suck, and you turn them to the left. Because now you can have rallies like, yeah, why you not getting us Medicare for all? Medicare for all. Medicare for all. Why you not cancel student loan debt? Cancel student debt. Cancel student debt. Why you not doing it? Remember, they actually did do offer student loan debt, and what do? You had to stand it. So now is the best time for progressives to hit this motherfucker and do it over and over again while he's unpopular, so you get more demands. Hit them publicly so you shift over to one to the left. So you have people running who are like, I don't want to be associated with Biden. Shit, I'd rather be associated with the progressive shit. But once again, what I propose is fantasy, because that didn't happen.
Right.
They look at what Jamal. While Biden is weak, he's saying Biden is trustworthy. So remember, CJ, remember what we talked about last time, or maybe it was
Jamal Bowman. I just must say he has been such a disappointment.
He's trash
from day one. Like, he was saying just stuff. I was like, wait, just one thing after another. He is just garbage.
Yes, Steve, that's my point. So my point was, I remember I talked about with either CJ or Ron, I forgot, but AOC number is her numbers are deeply in the toilet.
Yeah.
So why do you think that these people are hitching their wagon to Biden when Biden is massively unpopular? So it doesn't make sense, no matter what you think in terms of strategy, unless they have a different, more insidious role. If they don't give a fuck, their role is to maintain their career and be PR for Biden, even if that hurts them. Even if that hurts them. So Biden is not Biden, but Bowman is bullshitting all those young people. So all the young people, they're seeing Biden abandon his promises. They're seeing him expand offshore drilling and drilling on public lands. Once again, I ask you guys, what does Joe Manchin have to do with that?
Nothing.
When Biden expand offshore drilling, that has nothing to do with Joe Manchin. So young people, once again, I think a lot of people are upset. They know that. A lot of the young people, they're like, I don't buy the Joe Manchin shit. Right? So now they're tired of him. Any other thoughts?
Yeah. The young people, specifically in the organization of Sunrise and United We Dream, I remember when Sunrise movement in particular, when they got on board with the Joe Biden candidacy, and we all were like, this is not gonna end. This is not gonna end well.
I still remember when I bring it up all the time, but I still remember when Black Lives Matter celebrated when Biden won. Now you have people in Black Lives Matter like, yeah, man, Biden been a disappointment. But why will you ever cheer for Jim Crow Joe when he won the election? You guys are criminal justice advocates. And it's not like the thing is, what made that so absurd, because Biden lied about a lot of things on the trail. He lied about healthcare regarding public option. He lied about the minimum wage, $15 minimum wage. He lied about canceling student debt. He lied about ending the genocide in Yemen. There's a lot of things that Biden lied about. But when it came to upholding the police state, there was no point that he lied. During the debate, he was like, yeah, it's actually Trump who support defund the police. We actually support funding the police more. We support our boys in blue.
Yeah.
That was their message. So out of all the things they lied about, that was not one of them. So Black Lives Matter had literally no reason to ever support them other than to appease the Democratic Party club. And there was a lot of them, they got rich. A lot of these Black Lives Matter people, they got rich off of this shit. They was infiltrated by Democratic Party operatives. I'm not saying they're not great Black Lives Matter activists, but the reality is they have been hijacked by Democrats.
Mm. And that's why you see so many Democrats with the BLM in their bio on Twitter in particular. You see that on there, but they're advocating for, they're fine with increasing the funding to the police state. It's just so silly. But I'm going to make this point. It's kind of off topic, but on topic.
Yeah,
I think the reason, Nick, I've said this before, the reason we get so much criticism, or the criticism that we get, is because we're not saying the same things that the white leftist gatekeepers are saying. And those gatekeepers, or some of them, are getting upset at us about what we're doing. Because it's just like the Democratic Party. The reason the Democratic Party hates the left is because if the left exists, that means the Democratic Party isn't the farthest left. If RBN exists, what is that going to say about all these white leftists that you've been following? That's not saying the same thing that we're saying about these issues. They're not going to be seen as the farthest left. So we have to be attacked. Go ahead.
Let me pose this question to you guys. And I remember I said this a long time ago. I want you guys to think. And this is why I view a lot of these like neo-progressives, and I criticize them as much as liberals, because why do like social democrats, like why do Bernie Sanders style Democrats, why do they have a lot of disdain for liberals? Because what liberals do to them is they cut the Overton window off at their left. They cut the Overton window, like the center left. More like I even say center left, like more like the Elizabeth Warren, liberal. Like these are the people who are like, yeah, I think we should have a public option. Yeah, I think we should cancel on that. But they wouldn't touch like defund the police. They're not touching defund the Pentagon. They're not touching end the wars. But that's the people I'm talking about, right? Right. Like these people, they do the same thing to us that liberals do to them. So liberals hate them because they are to their left.
Right.
So they cut the Overton window off to their left because, and I'm mad I forgot who said this because this was brilliant and it's something that stuck with me for a long time. Because liberals do the same thing neo-progressives do. They see their leftism as a virtue. So their leftism is their reflection of them as a good person. So that's why they see themselves as so superior to the right wing. So I am to the left of Ben Shapiro. Therefore, I am more superior to them. So when you live your life with this ideology, and then you find someone to your left, their brain short circuit. They don't know how. And well, then I'm not the one who created this theory. I really wish I get. I really wish I get the person props I read this from. So they had to deal with someone who is to their left. Remember, they see leftism as a moral virtue. So how do you deal with someone who is to their left? You have to smear them as horseshoe theory. Remember horseshoe theory we talked about?
Yes.
Oh, the only reason these people are to my left is because they're so far left, they end up to the right.
Isn't that exactly what we hear about leftists on Twitter? I know somebody just said this to me who said, they quote tweeted me, how come leftists are sounding more and more like right wing? And I said to him, of course I had to have a good comeback. I said to him was, the reason what I say sounds right wing to you is because what right wing just means against Democrats in your world. So anything against Democrats is right wing. You're showing your ass how you've been propagandized and you don't even understand. You're telling me you've been propagandized. You have no idea because there's no place that you can pull that idea except for corporate mainstream Democratic media. You're telling on yourself. Go ahead, Nick.
That's well said. I saw a comment I wanted to read. I guess we can read some comments. I got a funny story we can talk about as well because I also think it relates. This is what I'm talking about. Black Lives Matter were infiltrated by white leftist gatekeepers. Absolutely. And one thing I would say more of the neo-progressive, just a Democrat more people because I know some white abolitionists, like people who I work with, tend to manage like they're not like that. But when it comes to like people who are like these are the people who are the people that saying like, oh, you can't advocate for defund the police. You hurt Democrats if you do that. These are the people who was infiltrating Black Lives Matter, like the people who voted for Eric Adams. Like I literally see people vote for Eric Adams who have Black Lives Matter in their profile picture. So when I talk about the infiltration of Black Lives Matter, that's real. That's 100% real.
That's terrible. That's a great comment there. Bowman bowed before the corporatocracy. Is Bowman, does he take corporate donations? Do you know? I don't recall if he did.
We realized because I used to the old theory. Once again, there are a lot of people that stuck in 2015 was all we gotta do is don't take corporate cash, and you won't be corrupt. Now we know that that's just the start, the icing. Like there's so many ways they can corrupt you. Like just the prestige alone, the fact that you have a pension after like what is it 10 years, guys? Am I getting that right? Like if you're in the Congress for like 10 years, you get like a lifetime pension. So
yeah, I think it's 10. So she has a couple. No, it's a little bit less than 10, isn't it?
So once again, you don't even have to take corporate cash to be corrupted, bro. Like,
exactly.
you can be corrupted literally just by the comfortable lifestyle.
And this is what I say: if your boss takes corporate money and you follow your boss, it's irrelevant whether you take corporate money. You get what I'm saying? Like, for example, the people in the House, you're fulfilling what Nancy Pelosi wants to do. So it matters what your leader is doing. It doesn't matter what you are doing, right? Because your AOC, the squad, they're not executing their ideas. So then it would matter that you don't take money. You're executing the ideas of the person who does take money. So what does that do? You get what I'm saying? Oh, I don't take money from no corporation. I'm on my own. Nobody can influence me. Hey, Mama Bear, what would you like done? Like, how does that work? So if you didn't know, I'm done with the squad. I've been done with the
That's a great
squad.
comment by
I'm
JP.
done with AOC. The infiltration is to keep a movement from making clear demands and to steer them into the neo-progressive direction of rhetoric over policy. That's drop the mic right there.
That's a great comment by James.
This part right here, Nick, the neo-progressive direction of rhetoric over policy.
See, that's so good. That's so good, CJ. People say defund the police is a bad slogan. Defund the police is a policy demand. You morons. It's a policy demand. Right. They don't like it because it's a policy demand. At least be honest. You know what's a slogan? You want to hear a slogan? Build back better.
Right.
Not me, us. Medicare for all. These are slogans. Once again, I think Medicare for all is a good slogan. To be fair. Black Lives Matter, that's a good slogan too. But they can even hijack that slogan.
Right. But you can't hijack defund the police. You can't change that to mean something else. You get what I'm saying? It's defund the police right there. Go ahead, Nick.
And I debated Garland Nixon on the concept of defund the police. And that was the point I was making. And I'm still waiting for hear people to make the counter argument to that, because think about another slogan that's not really a slogan but actually a policy demand. Cancel student loan debt. Cancel student loan debt is a great slogan because, once again, it's a policy demand. But even though that's a great slogan, even they hijacked that, CJ. The liberals, they hijacked cancel student loan debt. They say, yay, we support cancel student loan debt up to $50,000. Support cancel student loan debt up to $10,000. They even hijacked that one.
Yes.
But defund the police is such a good fucking slogan.
Yeah, they can't hijack that one.
No, so think about
they hijack healthcare as a human right. Remember Joe Biden tweeted that out?
Yeah, that's a good slogan too. They hijacked that one. So now think about this. How do you hijack defund the police? So imagine if they try to do litmus test. Sorry, not litmus test. What's the means testing? Imagine they try means test defund police like they did. That doesn't work.
No.
Nope. Imagine if you had a Democrat like, yeah, let's defund the police by 10%. I'm like, okay, that's a good start.
That's why they don't want that. That's why they have to demonize that phrase. And that's the reason why we have to keep using that phrase. They want us to pick something soft so they can mold it into something else that they want it to be.
Yes.
That's we have to stick with that.
Yeah, that's like why when I start hearing people say defunding the bad slogan, I'm like, are you guys out of your goddamn mind? Are you guys out of your minds? So think about this, CJ. Think about this, guys. If you're one of the people watching that think defund the police is a bad slogan, let me walk you through this. Defund the police was massively underwater last year. Why do you think people are talking about it? So people say, CJ, people say with a straight face, they say, oh, well, when I hear defund, that shocks a strong reaction. That's what we want. You stupid motherfucker. That's what we want. So when people hear defund the police, we want them to be shocked. That's how movements work. So when people they get that shock and they're like, what do they mean by defund the police? And then they start asking questions.
Right. What does that mean, defund the police? It means this. That's the whole point. Now, if we had some sort of soft thing, reform the police, nobody's gonna say, what does reform the police mean? Nobody's gonna do that. And when has reform ever done anything? The George Floyd bill. How did that reform go? Hey, this is what Democrats do. This is a perfect example. Democrats do. They take black pain, in this instance, or people of color's pain, repackages it for bad. The George Floyd bill gave more money to police and did nothing to stop the brutality. But they used his name. Go ahead.
How body cams working? Remember that great?
Yeah.
Remember that great reform, guys? How's that going? There was just another case. I don't remember the exact name, but the judge just ruled. I'm not fine. I was planning on reporting on it, but they just ruled that there was another police corruption story where the judge just ruled that, like, yeah, they don't have to release the body cam.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Forgot about that. The reform. How is it it can't be an effective reform if the person who we're watching can turn on and off the camera. How does that reform work, Nick? Like, let me give you an analogy. Now I'm an abolitionist, but I'm going to give you an analogy. No, I'm not going to give you that analogy with prison. So never mind, never mind. But I do want to put this comment up here, Nick. Facebook comment. We don't put a lot of these up, and so I want to highlight this person. So BLM was co-opted in Ferguson. They are being funded by the very corporations that destroy Black America, including Biden's bank. What is that? Bank of America, Citibank, Chase. They are founded by the military industrial complex, including Boeing and Raytheon. Great comment there. So
I had a lot of criticism of well, whenever I try to criticize movements, I always try to highlight the fact, like, do you have people on the ground and do good work, right? Like, I know a lot of local Black Lives Matter activists. I think they for real, right? But when you look at the national structure and the national organization, this is without a doubt they've been hijacked. They've been called out by victims of family, like, well, you guys are just profiting off of Black pain now at this point. A lot of people in the higher ups that bought mansions and shit. Mm-hmm. So, like, and when you see the direction of the movement, like the watering down, once again, I tell you, liberals infiltrated it. They made it gentle. Like, that what happens. Like, if you make your shit gentle, they will just water down your demands. And that will happen. And talking about Ferguson, I'm from Missouri, and I reported this on my show. I'll show you guys the article. Like, bro, there are a lot of Ferguson protesters that was protesting at that time. Like, hardcore. We were militant. Like, we militant. Now, there was a lot of right-wing people fear-mongering. They were like, yeah, Black Lives Matter, Marxist movement. And then there was time, and I remember once again, I'm in Missouri, he was like, hell yeah, we doubled on. Hell yeah, fuck that shit. Yeah. We anti-capitalist. We want to abolish prison. We want to abolish police, right? A lot of these people that was protesting the police in Ferguson was killed. I mean, when you compare it to the general population, the percentage, it is. I mean, people always say, well, there's always a chance that they can always just die. But it's like the percentage of their death compared to the overall population is absurd. Let me see if I can find the story for you guys real quick. But it shouldn't be hard because I'll report on this again. Here we go. This is from the Chicago Tribune. And this is, and once again, and since I live in Missouri, these are things I hear about. You hear about, like, bro, you hear about all the Ferguson protesters that died. Like, what the fuck happened, bro? Like, it's to the point, like, what? Like, look, check this out. A puzzling number of men tied to the Ferguson protests have since died. 2 young men were found dead inside torched cars. 3 others died in apparent suicides. Other collapsed on a bus. His death ruled an overdose. Jesus fuck. So once again, I'm not gonna go through the whole thing, but you guys see the premise, right? Like, and once again, I'm from Missouri. I live in Kansas City, so I hear more about these things than other people do, because this is one of the things, like, bro, you gotta be careful. And I remember the Kansas City protest, people like, bro, you gotta be careful. Like, because they will kill you. They will kill you. Yeah. Now, that will happen. And see, I want to get you into, but the people who was willing to water down Black Lives Matter, they was assimilated into the establishment. The people who was really into the Black Lives Matter activists and movement, they was destroyed. And they was imprisoned and allegedly killed. Maybe. Once again, I use allegedly there, but
I don't. Because I don't believe there's coincidences and stuff like this. I don't believe there's coincidences.
I don't either. I'll be real with you guys. But the way they died is all like suicide, mysterious shit, accidents. Right. And once again, if you want to be a skeptic, you're like, oh, these people could have just died right after they got done protesting the government. And these people were battling hard against, like, if you look into the police skirmishes against Ferguson, like, it was very militant. Like, They got the revenge, bro. Like, and I'm trying to find this tweet from our friend Dee because she did a great tweet earlier highlighting how all the Black Panthers that was imprisoned and are killed ever since the civil rights movement, right? So why did some Black Panthers go on and get killed? They get imprisoned, right? And then meanwhile, there's actually stories of like former Black Panthers who like went to vote for Kamala Harris, and they like comfortable now. Like, there's easily people who sold out. And that's real. That's real, guys.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna show you guys this. This is for my friend Didi. Mumia Abu Jamal has endured wretched prison conditions for 40 years for a crime that someone else confessed to committing. Once again, another Black Panther. A lot of people talk about Julian Assange. Mumia support Julian Assange. We all gotta stand and fight to free political prisoners like Mumia, Julian Assange, all these people. But once again, Mumia, along with many other people, I want to get a list. So I think Didi put a list together. But there were many Black Panthers like Mumia who was imprisoned by our state on foreign charges like these because Mumia was a freedom fighter, right? Reported on our government and the crimes. So let's see. Mumia was forced to plead his case to an almost all-white jury. During the trial, the judge refused to authorize tests that will confirm whether Mumia handled the firearm. Even another man confessed to the crime. But he was a Black Panther resistance fighter that refused to like cave, right? So you either get in prison or you get killed in those situations. So I show you guys both examples: the Black Panthers that were killed, the Black Panthers are in prison, and even to this day, the Ferguson protesters that was killed. Once again, you guys can make your own conclusion on that one. Once again, I'm from Missouri, man. We heard some shit. Man. They would if the police get your information. That's why do you think? Remember during the George Floyd protest? At least if you're on Twitter, this maybe more online. We were saying block people face out. Block people face out when you post people's shit online. Because during the Ferguson protest, these people was doxxed, they were found, and they was killed, man. And if you're a leftist, I know that sounds like a liberal will say, "Oh, that's crazy talk." If you're a leftist in America, you can't do that shit. You better be safe and sorry. I'd rather be a little bit paranoid than get caught off guard. Because there's no doubt, bro, because CJ, you just got your mutual aid organization. Rome got his mutual aid organization. If you guys ever pop off, if we ever pop off, if we ever get to, bro, shit. The reason why I had a dip when my window got broken too, no one stole my shit. Mm-hmm. That's classic intimidation strategy. So once again, I'd rather be more safe than sorry. So
I always have that. I always lead conversations with I'm suspicious, and I'm gonna be suspicious because it keeps me safe. Like I don't believe in coincidences. Like that's not a coincidence. Like no. So yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. It looks like we're gonna be segueing to another story, Nick. I'm looking through the comments here. Let's put that up there.
Yeah, Nick is right about trying to hide identities. When I interview people, I don't show their faces. Once again, guys, I'm not a perfect leftist. This is one of the things I learned. Like when I was in the street during George Floyd protest, one thing: do not don't post pictures of people and don't show faces. Period. I remember there was some viral film, some person throwing a water bottle at the police, and I remember the person they deleted it because people was like, "Bro, delete that." Why you got evidence of this motherfucker throwing water at a police that will beat his ass. So that's the I remember I learned that like, yeah, that's a good ass point, man. Once again, Nick, all about revolutionary discipline. You learned this shit.
That was just about to say. I was just about to say we Nick, because we said like nobody's gonna do it like we'll do it. Like we have to start studying and teaching, giving streams on this is how you recognize propaganda, for example. This is how you do this. This is how you do that. Like we need people have been conditioned so much. They don't really understand what mutual aid is. They don't really understand what it feels to be in a community. You get what I'm saying? Like these things we have to teach. White leftists don't understand on how to be in solidarity or in solidarity in community with a person of color. These are things I feel like our network needs to teach in how to stay disciplined in a movement, and that is staying disciplined, not being reactionary. A video comes out where Voss says something crazy, don't be reactionary. You're gonna be strategic. So if we're in a general strike and CNN reports something bad about the strike, about organizers, and they're trying to defame them, don't be reactionary. Take the time, talk, analyze, talk again, analyze. Stop being so reactionary. And this is us too. When we say this, Nick, when we're talking to you, we're not telling you to do it because we have this down. We're telling you to do it and we need to do it too.
Yeah, we're on this path together. Like we're in this community together. We're on this path together. Because obviously, if shit, I got fucking shit ton I get better at, right? I always try to get better. And we actually talking about that tomorrow. Because I have friend debate with friend of the community, and I always want to make the point because I feel like there's a very, and I talked about this yesterday with JB a little bit. There's a very careful line thread when you got people who are like super theory nerd versus the people who are like actually in the street, and then you get to a point of almost anti-intellectualism, right? So when you look at people in the streets, the people who are actually in action, they're actually fighting for this, fighting the establishment, fighting the national security state. A lot of times, these are the people who do read theory, right? Because theory tells you to get in the street, and actually, theory tells you that if you read theory and don't get in the street, they're like, you wasting your fucking time.
That's what I don't understand these people. I just got into it with somebody last week about this. I said something about I'm not interested in hearing your theory if your theory is not accompanied by action. And that person took it to me like I was saying do action and not theory. And it was like, theory tells you that if you don't do action, you're full of shit. Like theory tells you that. And they seem to just skip over that part. I always say this, Nick, to my kids. What's the use in knowing something if you don't use it? What's the use in having knowledge if you don't use it? Like money is only valuable if you use money. You get what I'm saying? Like you have to use it. Go ahead, Nick.
Yeah. So the only reason I see this because we got to adjust to the new times, guys. Like, and a lot of people are stuck in 2015. Like, and I see a lot of weakness in the U.S. left and progressives. Like when I talk about this, I say it for a reason. Like people are left behind. Like our communities are sold out to the police state because of the incompetence of the boutique left and the United States left. Like look at the global South, bro. They were getting national victories in Honduras, in Nicaragua. Like, bro, like the global South is killing it right now. They out-organize us. They look at us like we're jokes. They look at the U.S. leftists, U.S. progressives. So my thing is like, once again, CJ, your point was amazing. Don't be mad, be reactionary. So when people say the United States left is shitty, what's the response to that? Let's go back to our revolutionary leaders who had success. Who had success? Fred Hampton, MLK, Malcolm X. So let's go. That's theory. Like I tell people, like it's not just like when people talk about theory, they immediately go to Marx. Like they immediately go to Lenin. Like that's theory. But why do you guys leave out black leftist leaders? Like when you read some shit that Malcolm X wrote, when you read some shit that Fred Hampton wrote, that's theory, right? So do you guys know that the Black Panthers, they used to have monthly theory readings? The reason why they did that because they know that it's not only important to be anti-establishment, because we said this before on our show, CJ, and I still believe this. You don't need theory to be anti-establishment because you can live your life and be like, all right, I'm going to be anti-establishment because my life is hard. But wise leftist revolutionary discipline help us learn how to resist in a proper way, how to build community, how to resist CIA talking points, how to resist division. So once we learn that stuff, then let's put that in action. Let's form community. Let's form mutual aid groups like you guys are doing. Like I aspire to do one day, right? Like, so this is the kind of stuff I want to see the left do. So that's why I bring this up. And tomorrow we're going to talk about this because there is a rise of like anti-intellectualism in the United States as a whole. I see that. Like as a whole, but it affects the left too, where people get mad at you for even saying that, like, yo, how dare you tell me to read? Like, I'm just saying read like some shit that our leaders say, bro. I'm not saying that don't do action. I'm saying like, yo, maybe you should check out some shit that our leaders say. Right. You know what I mean? So it affects all our society, don't get it wrong, but there actually is a part of that part of our movements too. Like when I talk about like the CIA list and how left movements are infiltrated, when I talk about the history of the CIA, dude, and this is not our community, to be 100% clear. Like I love our community. We look at our content, we are about it. But there are people, and these are the people who shape the narrative of the left. They don't give a fuck about the history of the CIA.
No.
They don't give a fuck about the history of the police state. They don't give a fuck about the state of the national security state. They will side with them in order to get boutique suburban milquetoast reforms, right? So that's them like completely abandoning revolutionary discipline, revolutionary thought, and that's them abandoning real revolutionary discipline theory. We can't be that. We can't be it. We got to put our. And once again, if your argument is, "Oh, you fucking nerd," because I am a nerd. I admit that. I am a nerd. So if you're like, "You fucking nerd, shut up and get out," I'm like, yeah, you should, because that's what theory tells you to do. So anyway, I don't think we went on long enough for that. Any last thoughts? I'll give you the last word on this.
No, I agree with all of what you're saying, and I think it can be connected back to why the left has been so unsuccessful. I mentioned
Absolutely.
yeah, I mentioned earlier how because maybe it's because white leftists who are rich don't have a lot to lose, but this what you're saying here is also it's also connected. It's like, Nick, regardless of race, is it better to have somebody fight for prisoners' rights who was a prisoner, or some bureaucrat, or lead a movement? To lead a movement to improve prison life, even though we want to abolish it, let's say to lead a movement, wouldn't that movement be better led by somebody who actually was in prison? Somebody who actually went through the stuff? And if that prison movement was led by somebody never in prison, just some white collar person, do you think they're going to get all the intricate details of what needs to happen? They have no basis of reference. You get what I'm saying? This is why the left as a whole in the United States being led by people who aren't the marginalized group. They're not the marginalized group. So you're not going to fight as hard as the marginalized group who's going to have a direct effect. You get what I'm saying? A rich white person, David Dole, may not support defund the police. You know why? He's never been pulled over because of his race. So how can we have him leading the left movement about police brutality? We can't. But this is what's happening with the left. It's people who are leaders who have no basis in the things that they're even talking about that needs to be improved. In poverty, in racism, in sexism, a white male has no understanding of that. Unless we're talking about Appalachian whites, we're talking about poor whites. That's a whole different story. Okay, that's a whole different story. Go ahead, Nick.
And once again, I don't understand why people who privileged, they just super excited to get out in front and want to lead this shit when you don't live the life. And honestly, you hate the people that you say you fight for.
Exactly.
Like a lot of these people, like the BreadTube and the people that we were talking about earlier, and a lot of people you name, like these people, one of the biggest struggles and one of the biggest fights that they have is against the people they call tankies, right? Like these people, like, oh my God, we gotta defeat the tankies. We got this is referring to Marxist-Leninists, right? And Black Panthers is a Marxist-Leninist organization. Mm-hmm. So I can only conclude that if Fred Hampton was alive today, they would hate this motherfucker because he's a tanky. So that's the divide tactics that we gotta be able to acknowledge. And once again, that's why as soon as when people was attacking activists who was advocating for forced to vote, that's immediately when I started tweeting out the CIA shit, because I immediately knew that. And one last point, because I think this also tied to what we were saying, because I want to round the whole theory talk out with this, because the people who've been following my channel from day one, you guys know my the road I've been on. I'm not telling you guys this just as a suggestion. I'm telling you guys the route I've been on. Like people are there's a reason why I can jump on these shows and talk for 2 hours about these kind of things, because it's what's something I was interested in. And as I got more anti-establishment after Bernie campaign, I was like, all right, I want to get more radicalized. I want to see where Rome's coming from, and I wanted to talk to people to my left, and that's why I invite a lot of people on. That why I don't do what liberals do, where they they just cut the Overton window off from the left. I want to learn from that, so I read a lot, and that taught me a lot, and that's how I'm able to communicate those ideas and do these shows, right? But a lot of people will not be able to do that. Now let's talk about this, CJ. And this is a point that a lot of people miss, man. A lot of people miss this point. And I see it with the dick measuring contest that goes on with leftists, where they have a competition. Oh, you see how much work I did, bro? I organized this many hours. How many hours you organized? You ain't organized many hours I did, bro. It's not maybe that outlandish, but it's implied. There's this dick measuring context that is completely unnecessary. And also the CIA leftists will use this to pull rank. Like whenever you criticize their favorite politicians, like LC, this is the number one thing they say to me. How dare you criticize LC? What have you done? You have done nothing compared to Bernie. How dare you?
You should say this. You should say, I've done the same thing AOC have done legislatively. Nothing. I've done nothing just like her legislatively.
Yeah, but you see how it's all about rank? Who does more? And if someone does more, they are above reproach. You can't criticize the person who does more. That is not what communism. That is not what anti-establishment organizers should be about. The message of this show, and Rome taught me a lot about this. Affinity has taught me a lot about this. Everyone in this motherfucking role has their own. Everyone in the movement had their own role. Everyone has, because so when I talk about theory, not everyone it has the luxury. Because I don't have kids. Not everyone had the luxury to fucking read shit like I do, right? Not everyone had the luxury to be engaged in politics all the goddamn time. Like imagine if you got like 2 kids, you working 60 hours a week. Like shit, and then you want to have some sort of a social life, so you maybe be able to go out with the boys once a month or some shit like that. Like you don't got time for this shit. So there's some people, their roles are educators. Like these are more like the Dr. Kareem Batesh, the Dr. Cornel West shit, Dr. Cornel West. I'm trying to be, our role, at least on this YouTube channel, be educators. Then you have people who are organizers. That's when you get to the mutual aid groups. And then what I mentioned earlier before, like if you cook, like if you make a bomb cherry pie. And let's say you like you can't march, you got a bad hip. You in your 50s, you can't march, you like, man, I don't do enough, man. What can I do? If you bake some pies at an organized event and that helped energize the people protesting, you did your part. Everyone has their part. So if you're one of the people that want to like shine people, because you guys know I advocate for theory, right? But there are people that like they're kind of elitist, where they're like, how you're not leftist, you don't read theory. You're not leftist, you don't read theory. My thing is, it's our job to teach people theory. Like, don't shun people because they can't read theory, because they haven't read a lot, or they don't, or maybe they're not well informed. It's our job. It's the job of the educators, of the Dr. Cornel Wests, the Dr. Kareem Batesh's. These people, they educate people. Then we have people out there that may be good at they medics, right? You got people who are teachers. I'm the martial artist. I want to teach people how to defend themselves, right? Like you got Rome, mutual aid groups, like and that's the United States left. The concept I laid out to you, CJ. The United States left is so far away from it. Like when I look at the U.S. progressive, everything is a dick measure in context. Everything. Mm-hmm. Remember what I said? How dare you compare yourself to how dare you criticize LC? Because what have you done to LC? I remember I had some dudes like, man, you ain't organized more than me, bro. How dare you have a Jump Strike Summit? I've been organized for 20 years. Like, bitch, who cares? I only organized for a few years. That doesn't matter. Like once again, a lot of people will pull rank during our Jump Strike Summit. Like how
this is what you're speaking to. You're speaking to, Nick. What I was saying is that I don't blame these people who are behaving this way. They've been conditioned to believe this is the interaction in politics, and I think it's us, Nick. I'm gonna start saying this now. It's up to us to teach people and learn together, because we're not really teaching them, because we need to do these things. I have to be less reactionary, because I can be reactionary, especially on Twitter. I can be so I have to be less reactionary. I have to be better. Yeah. So like what
we
check
each other all the time.
Yeah.
Y'all know, y'all see it, but we check each other all the time.
Yeah.
So like, go ahead.
Yeah, they gotta. I don't know if we want to have them in on one of our meetings, but yeah, our meetings can get pretty heated. So, but yeah, and I'm glad you bring up that, because it's up to us, Nick, to teach. And when we get in when the last time we got into a heated thing, that's what I was saying, is that we're learning community. These fights, these disagreements, and then we come back and don't disperse and don't break up. We're learning how to be in community. We're learning how to disagree. We have to relearn all of this. We just think because we want to be revolutionaries, we're going to automatically be revolutionaries. We have no idea how to do that. We have no idea. We have the general, let's go out, protest, general strike, but we have no idea how not to be reactionary. What if the press says something bad about Nick and they drop a story? How do we react to that? How do our PR do? Like, we have to think in the ways of the art of war, the art of engaging your opponent. It's not just, hey, let's just go out there and go. Like there needs to be more thought, more strategy behind it. And this is JB. Did you want me to read that? You can put it back up if you want me to read it.
Yeah. Let me find it. I clicked it right when you about to read it. Yeah, I think this is it.
Okay.
Being famous. Go ahead.
Being famous doesn't mean that you've done more. It's just that more people know about what you've done. That is a great point. And I always say this about Twitter. There's a lot of people that have a lot of great takes that only got 100 followers. But if that same person had 100,000 followers, so it's all in your audience. And I think that's what he's saying. That's what JB's point is. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's such a great point because we really gotta reject the idea, and this is something I strongly believe in terms of leftist thought, like rejecting hierarchies. Like, I don't believe in hierarchies, right? So why you guys? I platform anybody on this motherfucker. Like I talk to anybody. That's why, like people, like we always laugh and always joke about it. People always love, like, oh my god, I cannot believe you have this person on your goddamn show. Oh my god, I can't believe you talk to Jimmy Dore. I'm like, guys, I talk to everyone. Guys, I platform people with like 50 followers. How much?
Yeah.
So I don't believe in hierarchies. Like I'm legit. I put as much stock into like a farmer's opinion as I do a CEO. And a lot of people may say that, but a lot of people really don't. A lot of people really do like put more stock into the opinions of like someone who's like successful in our capitalist system. Oh, that's why if you look at CNN, like you're never gonna see a working class person on them panels.
No,
we got CEO of this business because the reason why they do that CEO don't know what the fuck he's talking about, but his opinions mean more. He's higher on the hierarchical ladder, and a lot of the progressives they fall for this. So when they say stuff like this, when they say, and once again, guys, I'm not telling you guys this, I'm not making this up. I'm telling you, I got this so many times in my very short time as a political commentator. How dare you criticize AOC? What have you done compared to her? What have you done compared to Bernie Sanders? You guys see the hierarchies they put? AOC and their train of thought is on a higher hierarchy than me. And since she is on the higher hierarchy, I can't criticize her. That's truly what they believe. That is what the root of their criticism is.
This is what I mean by conditioning. Even leftists, even me, like you every day, you're conditioned to have this sort of reaction. In the red-blue game, you're conditioned to socialize through politics this way, this combative, like this way of not coming to a real resolution, right? We've been socialized, even leftists have been socialized to do this. So we have to deprogram everything about us. Like Nick, we've been taught capitalism and the tenets of capitalism since grade school. You think that's just going to go away because we now are radicalized? Like, you know how many old like just beliefs I have, and this is something I have to do every day. Like I've been conditioned. For example, this is something that bothers me when I use the term guys when I'm talking about a group of people that are men, women, or non-binary. Right? I use the word guys. That's a condition to say that I can use something that's specifically talking about men and say that applies to men, women, and other, right? Because man, it can represent. That's the same thing as saying this white doll, this white Barbie doll. We don't need to have a black Barbie. This white Barbie doll represents both sides, all races. You get what I'm saying, Nick? Does that make sense, or is it kind of confusing? Go ahead.
No, I see exactly what you're saying. And like for the last 15 minutes, we can just take questions, maybe react to some breaking news, and we can wrap up that way.
Have you seen anything? Let me see what's trending on Twitter. Let me see if anything dropped.
Well, so we can always find something live. You guys know how we usually end these streams, but you guys always leave great questions. They didn't say it's a class question. The capitalists seek to divide as much as possible. That's the role of Maddow and Tucker, for example. That's such a good point.
Yes,
amazing point. Because
let me see. Let me say it to myself. Go ahead. I'm gonna read that.
I actually talked about Tucker Carlson recently on my stream, and trust me, Maddow, MSNBC, all of them, they are horrific as well. But I have to talk about Tucker because Tucker is misleading a lot of people, right? Like Tucker, he take like good stances on like Julian and Assange every once in a while, and I got this funny ass video. Oh yeah, we had the end game, so at this point we can get a little. I got this funny ass video I gotta show you guys. And I'm gonna show you guys how Tucker Carlson actually he's pretty dangerous, man, because he's the best Fox News host is what he do. That's why he's the best cable news host of all time. But after watching this dude for a long time, I know like there's like a lot of leftists like, oh man, I think Tucker Carlson is actually pretty good. He talk about some left ideas. No, he's not. Like his role is actually to divide the classes as well, and he does it in a very tricky way, man. Like he would talk about anti-establishment stuff. He was like, yeah, it's corporations that are taking our money. The Walton family, Jeff Bezos, these people are evil. Yeah, we need to challenge the corporate state. But then he would pivot and he was like, yeah, all this problems that are going on, all this greed, all this income inequality, the Mexicans.
Yeah.
This is why we got to support the Republican parties, because the Republican Party, what? Like, so Tucker would say a ton of good shit, but his conclusion is support Trump. What?
So he's like doing the same thing that Hassan does, but just on the other side.
Yes.
It's like you're criticizing, you're seeming like you're against the establishment, but you're funneling back the same people back to the same establishment.
He is so unoppressive. Like people will be like, oh, you hear about Tucker? He is so unoppressive because it's so obvious what he's doing. Because he does the same thing that TYT does, but to the
opposite side.
Yeah, the far right, I would say, right? Because what they do, what the neo-progressives do, they pretend to be anti-establishment, but then they funnel that money to Democrats. Tucker pretended to be anti-establishment, and then he funneled that to Republicans. So, for example, he speaks up on Julian Assange, but he supports Trump, who was against Julian Assange.
Right.
So that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make sense. So what is he doing? So he want to get this anti-establishment coalition bill, and a lot of it is the white Fox News viewer who like, yeah, the corporations are awful. But then Tucker takes that anti-establishment mind, and then he divides the workers by pushing culture war issues. If you look at what like Tucker is one of the people, most of the time he trend because he said some shit about some culture war issue that people are like, what? So his job is he may highlight some issues, but at the end of the day, he's here to divide the workers by getting them to play the red-blue game and by focusing entirely on insignificant culture war shit that divide the workers. So he's actually very he's the best at what he does. Like there's a reason why he's the highest rated cable news host of all time. He's extremely popular. Because don't get me wrong, what he does is extremely effective. God, I'll show you guys this clip. My friend
Nick, not a lot of people know, but Tucker used to be on CNN and he was nothing like he is now. He used to be on a show called Crossfire. I used to watch, and he was nothing like he is now.
People call leftist grifters, but that literally what the definition of a grifter is.
Yeah.
Someone who willing to say whatever it takes to make money and climb a career. That's literally a grifter. Let him. I saved this, so I had to say because this shit was funny. I wanted to show this. I didn't know when I was gonna show this, but I think near the end of the show when we have fun, this is a good time. Check this out. This is my friend Gritty, and he made this video funny. You guys see what I'm talking about, so I'm not gonna spoil it. But look at what Tucker is saying. But remember, he's anti-communist. Tucker Carlson hates communism. He hates socialism. He hates Marxist thought. But keep that in mind as you watch this video. Check this out. Check this out.
Why not make the people who benefited the most from the lockdown, the people who've encouraged them from day one, pay for the effects of those lockdowns? Why wouldn't you assess, I don't know, Amazon and Apple and Goldman Sachs and Google and Netflix and Walmart, all the big winners in this pandemic? Why wouldn't you assess them a one-time COVID fee, take it out of their record profits, and let them pay for the next bailout? Why are you paying for it? Jeff Bezos, for example, is now the richest man in the history of the world. Maybe he could share the load in a meaningful way. He's not sharing it with his employees. And while we're at it, why not make Harvard and Yale and Stanford and Princeton use their endowments to pay off some of the student debt they caused? There's no reason ordinary taxpayers should be on the hook for their spending. Ordinary taxpayers have suffered enough. Here's the bottom line. The rich are getting richer. Everyone else is getting poorer. That's not a talking point. It's true. And eventually, why is it a problem? Because if it continues to wind up creating a more vulnerable society,
guys get the
Tucker,
point?
yes,
Go ahead, CJ. What's your
what
thought?
what Tucker is, what Obama was and is, what a lot of politicians are understanding more and more is talking the populist talk and not backing it up. And why you're seeing more more politicians do that is that their donors are now fine with them even saying it, knowing that they're not going to do that at all. So that's kind of what has changed, is that donors are now okay with you virtue signaling, knowing all along you're not going to do it.
Why do you think that is, CJ? Because think about the point of view. That's a funny video, but what's the point? That's my criticism of Tucker. Mm-hmm. What Tucker said there was based as fuck. Like, if you don't know him, you like, that motherfucker's a communist.
Yeah.
But Tucker says that and then redirects.
Right.
Like, Republican.
Right. It's a bait. It's like the speech is the bait on the hook. Once you get the hook, then you just pull them back to the same place that the person was. And it's such a, I mean, AOC and the squad is sort of doing the same, sort of the same thing, or she was doing it. She's not doing it as much, but pointing out this is bad, or Bernie Sanders was doing this is bad. Democrats this, Joe Biden this. And then now you're funneling those same people back to Democrats.
I want to answer a point you made earlier. Like, why you were like, yeah, Tucker Carlson, he's allowed to say that on Fox News. Why do you guys think that is, guys? Like they know that people want to hear popular rhetoric. So advertise. It's like the thing with Biden. Remember, we explained this concept before, where Biden had big pharma donors. Even though Biden was running on a public option, Biden was like, man, I'm just talking shit, bro. Like, I'm not doing that shit. Good, bro. That's the same thing that Tucker does. Like, Tucker does his speech. He does his stuff where he's like, I'm pro-worker. Yeah, we should reallocate. Like, that's a speech about reallocating wealth, guys.
But I think, go ahead.
My last point I passed to you. My last point was, his advertisers know that he would never tell his audience he would never endorse a solution that would hurt their power. Exactly. So they allow him to say it because they know he won't. But go ahead, CJ.
No, that was the point that I made. Is that virtue signaling is now a good thing. Like, it used to be before, they didn't even want you to say it out in the open, but now go ahead. Say that. We know that you're not gonna actually do that. But what I was gonna say also is that Joe Biden saying $2,000 checks, that was a populist message. This is all indicating, Nick, they know what people want. It's not like they don't know. They exactly know what people want, and they're choosing not to do it. This is why Tucker Carlson can speak all the right language. Be like, yeah. They're just talk. It's just talk. But people believe it, Nick. And how do we get out of it if people believe people's words instead of actions? And that's hard.
I'm done with it, CJ. And that's why I've been shocked to a lot. I've been shocked to so many people, because my thing is, I don't give a fuck what you say. That's why I was quick to turn on Jamal Bowman, though, because like I covered this on I think International Leftist Coalition, where you had a ton of establishment Palestinians that try to come out to defense of Jamal Bowman, because the Palestinian DSA Palestine, they were like, we're gonna remove Jamal Bowman for our group because he's a Zionist piece of shit. They pretty much said a nice version of that. He's a fucking Zionist. Fuck off, kick rocks. We're gonna banish you from our group. So in response to that, there was a ton of establishment progressives that was like, Jamal Bowman, he's actually good on, he got a large Jewish constituency. But if you look at it, if you look at his rhetoric, there was a big person like, if you look at his rhetoric, I know his votes are not good, but his rhetoric, you never gonna hear rhetoric like that. And they kept saying that. They said Jamal Bowman's good for his rhetoric, and I'm like, and when I covered when I covered this, I was showing you guys the tweets. I'm like, they're like, yeah, Jamal Bowman's good. I'm like, who gives a fuck about his rhetoric? That what they was, and I was like, what is their defense? I literally was looking like, what is their defense of him? And their defense literally was like, yeah, we know he don't make his votes haven't been great, but we need someone who has good rhetoric.
Right. That's what it is, Nick.
I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Rhetoric has become the game, Nick. I'm glad you said that. I didn't think of that until you just made that point.
I brought it up.
Rhetoric,
for your point.
Yeah, rhetoric has become the game. Like that is now like just saying you support something. I support Medicare for all. That's a progressive. No, I just said that. Like I can say anything. I can say, I believe in this, I believe in that. But if I'm not doing the things that move me closer to that, to me, it's just hollow words. Like if you're saying you believe in Medicare for all, but the fact that you didn't force a vote on Pelosi tells me that you have Medicare. You have health care, and Medicare for all may not be as important now.
So I know how I went into I know what I'm gonna do last 5 minutes. I did not realize there was a whole nother segment we didn't even do about.
We didn't get to it,
but it's okay. We stream every day. I think I might cover on my Saturday show or something, or maybe on one of my coming up shows. So we got great stories coming up for you guys. We upload every day. I want to end on a funny story. This shouldn't take too long for us to cover. It's a funny Kamala story because there's a clip going around. So we were talking about earlier about how Biden is unpopular with young people. I'm not going to preface this video real quick. I mostly want to end it with this story. But Kamala is one of the worst politicians I have ever seen in my entire life. But there's a reason why she's one of the most historically unpopular vice presidents
28%
in modern history. Yeah,
terrible.
So this is despite the corporate media doing everything they could to prop her up, shine her up. The media not highlighting the worst of her record. They try her best to hide her, but every time she make a public appearance, she make a fool of herself. And it's been amazing to watch. To be honest, it's been great to watch because K-Hive, they legitimately thought they could trick the entire country into liking Kamala Harris because she was anointed vice president. But she is so naturally untalented. So why am I saying all this stuff? Watch this video clip. So this clip with Kamala shows exactly why she is plummeting in the polls. And there's a lot to say about this. Like this is a funny video, but there's actually a lot to say about this in terms of substance. But it's a good funny video to end the stream on. So I'm gonna mute my mic. Let's check.
Alrighty.
People around the world watch what we do as America. And right now, we're about to take ourselves off the map as a role model. If we let people destroy one of the most important pillars of a democracy, which is free and fair elections.
You're talking about what's happening in state capitals around the country.
I am talking about that. And I'm talking about what's not happening in this capital in Washington, D.C., which is the passing of the John Lewis Voting Rights Advancement Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. This is literally about our standing in the world. It's about the integrity of our democracy. When our kids look back 5-10 years from now at this moment, it will be on our watch that we either stood for and fought for our democracy or not. And I think that is all at stake right now.
But you still have the reality of a 50-50 Senate.
Correct.
And you have 2 senators who say they're not on board for changing the filibuster in order to try to push this through. So how do you overcome that democratic reality of not having the votes and not having a clear path forward?
We will do and look at whatever is necessary to push for Congress to take this issue on. And we have to.
Carl, the filibuster.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that we are going to urge the United States Congress, and we have been, to examine the tools they have available, to do what is necessary to fight for and retain the integrity of our voting system in America.
It sounds like you're open, though, to a carve out to the filibuster to get there. You were when you ran for president on the issue of climate. Are voting rights as important to you?
I believe voting rights
terrible
significant issues that is facing us as individuals and as leaders today. There's no question. Voting rights lead to every other right. Every other right. And so we need to prioritize it as a nation. I think it's really important that in this conversation about what's happening in Washington, D.C. on the issue of voting, that we not lose sight of the fact that there is one whole group of people, half of the United States Senate, who are refusing to even debate this issue.
So
that was terrible. That was awful to.
First off, I do want to apologize for putting you guys through that. But I tweeted out like Kamala is one of the worst politicians I've ever seen in my life. Like, this is why she's the most unpopular vice president.
She's stumbling over just basic questions. That's a basic question, and you're stumbling, and you can't. And she never answers the question.
Unprepared. But also, not only we're not here just to laugh at Kamala Harris for being awful, because I think the clip itself speaks for itself there, right? But now, once again, there's actually substance to what we can talk about here, right? Because there's the last point I want to make when we wrap up here, right? she was like, voting rights is so important. We gotta do everything we can. And then the reporter is dismantling her without even trying. Like, she's not even trying to. She's like, yeah. But what about the senators that who not gonna vote for voting rights, like Trump mentioned and Chris Senator?
What are you gonna do?
That means you got get rid of the filibuster, right? You ran. She literally said you ran in the filibuster. She was like,
yeah, and she just moves on to something else.
Actually, Republicans don't even want to have a debate over what. That has nothing to do with what she asked you. She asked you, "Do you want to get rid of the filibuster?" She was like, "Republicans don't even want to have a debate over this." And then that what you go work sound like, because liberals are even mad at Biden and Kamala because they're not getting the voting rights reform done for them because of the filibuster. And then she was asked about it, and she gave this milquetoast answer. Like, this is weakness. Like, what are her advice?
Well, you know what she said she's gonna do? She's gonna urge the Congress to do something to work something out. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean?
Nothing.
Nothing.
They know she is saying voting rights is so important. We gotta get the voting rights act. Then the reporter, once again, dismantling her without trying. She's like, okay, but you don't got the votes though. What about Joe Manchin Cinema? What about the filibuster? She's like, well, we got to believe in the heart of friendship. We believe in the power of friendship. We can get it done. So one last bit of radical thought I want to end you guys on. And this gets me in trouble by progressives. I got in trouble many times for saying this. I don't give a fuck about this Voting Rights Act, especially this bill in particular. You got to know the bill in particular they flown around destroys third parties. Mm-hmm. It raised the fundraising cap to the point where most third parties will be completely invalidated. And also, so if you could take the fact that this bill eliminates third parties, right? So this is a bill that makes it so it makes it easier for you to vote for Democrats. What? You guys think this is gonna? And now think about what I'm not gonna replay the clip, but think about what Kamala said in that clip. Once again, everything she said in that clip was horrible, even on the substance. So think about what she said. If we pass voting rights, that's the beginning of all movement. Yeah, so if we pass voting rights, then we can address everything else. This is what liberals believe, guys. This is absurd. Absurd. So the voting rights, the reason why they want to pass that, they want to give you more power to vote for Democrats. So they destroying third parties, and then they give you the option to vote for them. So they're like, we're passing this act. It's so noble. We're gonna pass this act so you guys can. It's easier for you guys to give us political power. Are you guys serious?
Yeah, I didn't give a damn about nobody voting.
And I'll pass it right to you, bro. What I said to you guys right now is considered controversial. Progressives love the Voting Rights Act, like the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. Me saying shit like this is why a lot of them don't like me. They like, oh my God, niggas he just saying shit to get people to react. He said that the John Lewis Voting Rights Act bill is trash. Yes, it's trash. You guys, and I'm gonna do a bigger dive because we gonna wrap up here soon. But they destroy third parties in the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and their ability to get on the ballot. They got to fundraise more. So
I just don't care about this because it's voting rights to vote in a duopoly.
Yeah, exactly.
Who gives a fuck? Like to vote for you want people to have more voting rights so they can go and vote in this corrupt, terrible system? I'm good.
Yeah, bro, but people swear by this fucking bill, bro. I never understood it.
I didn't know this. I didn't know this. You're teaching me right now.
Once again, if you listen to progressives, they talk about this shit too. We gotta pass the voting rights bill. We gotta pass the voting rights bill. AOC and Bernie said this shit all the time, bro. This is a voting rights bill just to get you to vote for Democrats.
Right?
How does that lead to change?
Is this connected to the pro? Is it a bill called Pro-Am bill?
Yeah, I think that's the official. Like, help us out. I think like the Pro Voting Act HR or something like that.
Yeah. No, I remember when I went on Jen's show, she was talking about if I was for the Pro-Am Act.
I think that's
and now that you're mentioning the voting rights, as you can see, like I don't keep up with electoral I don't really care. I don't care about this voting rights bill. I don't care about, Juneteenth. Like, I don't care about none of this bullshit virtue signaling they're trying to do to the black population. I don't care about any of that.
I know you don't follow that stuff, but CJ, what we just said is considered a hot take among the CIA left that we're talking about, right? Because they all in on the voting right bill. Voting for Democrats is the best. Because they believe that if we pass this bill, it'll make it easier for people to vote for Democrats, which means more Democrats will get in charge, which leads to more systematic change.
Like, what is it? Do you like? I don't even know what's in it. Like, it's to allow people to vote, or is it take away?
There are some. To be fair, there are some good things in the bill, but the leftist argument is you can pass the good things on their own. Like, for example, there is I think there's automatic voter registration. And if you're in the chat, help us out. Because once again, I did not read the bill up and down, but I do want to announce there are some good things like automatic voting registration. There's like gerrymandering reform or whatever. But at the end of the day, once again, I told you this bill destroys third parties. So even though there's automatic voting registration, which is good, they do an automatic voter registration so you can vote for Democrats.
Right.
So it's like even the things they're doing are good. It's not worth the trade-off. Like once again, there's an argument against third parties on the revolutionary thought train, but I think you should take all your shots. So I think you should support third parties. I think you should organize mutual aid, whatever it takes. My thing is if you support either two-party duopoly, you're ridiculous. So the concept of also, I see a comment. I think they're gonna do a reform that make it so there are no 10-hour waiting lines to vote. So once again, these are inherently good things. But
this is what they do, Nick. They give you these good things and then they put these poison pills in. Yeah, right. They do that, the poison pill with the third party. So yeah, voting rights. How are you gonna be against that? And it's like, how are you gonna be against voting rights, Nick?
You know how serious they are, CJ? Because you guys know how I learned about all this stuff. I still remember specifically Ryan Grimm did a hit job on the Green Party. So the Green Party opposed the John Lewis Voting Rights Act because they are a third party. And they was highlighting the fact, they was like, yo, there are a lot of good stuff in this bill, but yo, they increased the fundraising cap on this. So that would destroy our party. If you support the People Party, that would destroy your party. Because you're not going to be able to fundraise the cap. Like, they literally increased it like 10 times.
Why is that? What is the function of increasing it? Like, why does it need to be? It doesn't need to be increased.
It's so openly.
You guys are already corporate greedy pigs. Like, what? You don't need to increase that.
CJ is so corrupt because the cap was already relatively high. That's why it's hard to start a third party. But the Green Party was able to hit it. And the other one, right? Yeah, the Libertarian Party. I don't know why I blanked on. I'm an idiot, but on the Libertarian Party, they hit it. Even though it is hard to hit, they hit it. So they increased the cap on rate. And once again, when you hear them talk about the bill, they will never ever talk about this part ever. They raised the cap, and there's literally no reason. The only reason they did it is so third parties can't raise the money. So just to show you guys how insidious Ryan Grimm is, the Green Party came out against this bill because they're like, there are good things in this bill. We can support it. We can pass all the good. This is how I learned about this stuff originally following the story. Because they was like, all right, we can't support this bill because this bill is horrible. It will destroy third parties as we know it. It will just embolden the Democrat Party. But we got to work individually to pass all the good stuff. So Ryan Grimm was like, the Green Party comes out against the John Lewis voting rights bill. This is why the Green Party is a fringe left movement. And he purposely left out the fact that this destroys third parties. And then there are a lot of people that are like, bro, how are you purposely leaving that part out? They're not against the stuff.
Oh, that's intentional. That's intentional.
And the only reason I brought it up, because that's how I figured this all out. It was during that. I looked into it and I was like, oh, damn, Ryan, what the fuck? Like, I was like, damn, bro. And I looked into it. I was like, why is Green Party opposing the John Lewis voting rights bill? Now I looked into it. That's how I discovered all this stuff in this segment.
And they called it the John Lewis voting rights bill so that you can go, how are you against John Lewis voting rights bill? The same thing with the George Floyd. How are you against the George Floyd voting? Why are you against the George Floyd Policing Act? Like they name them these things, right? So that you it's almost like if you're against it, you're racist, almost.
Yeah, they're super clever. Hold up, let me make sure. So they had the John Lewis Act, and then there's HR1. So I think there's small differences. I was trying to make sure I get the differences right. So HR1, the act with the third party poison bill. Okay, let me correct myself. So HR1 is the bill that the Green Party came out against, not the John Lewis voting rights.
Okay, gotcha.
So I just googled it. I just googled this here because I do want to make sure we're accurate. So this is what I found. This from Washington Post, but it said how is the John Lewis Voting Rights Act different from HR1? So that's that. So this article will explain more. So yeah, they're different things. So HR1, but that doesn't change the Ryan Grimm story because so the Green Party came out against HR1, which was the I gotta look more into John Lewis. I'll get those confused a lot. But HR1 attacked third parties. So the Green Party came out against the HR1. So Ryan Grimm, and I remember the entire progressive dogpile on the Green Party because they were like, how dare you not support HR1? This got so many good things now. That's why though. What the concept I just explained to you guys. So,
but this is what American capitalism does. They did it in the housing market too. You package good and bad and say take it or leave it. Right? So that's the same thing that's happening here. Go ahead, Justin Johnson. There shouldn't be a minimum of funds to run for office. There shouldn't be a minimum of funds to run for office. The only qualification should be the required signatures for the ballot. It is redundant because all parties are not allowed on the debate stage. The two parties who are on the debate stage don't want to see any other parties on the debate stage.
CJ, you know Jill Stein was arrested in 2016 because she had the audacity to demand that she debate. She was arrested. They literally they like arrested her to a poll. I had Cherry Honkala, her 2012 running mate, that was explaining this whole story, how they was all arrested. It was crazy. So our country had the nerve to damn the election in Nicaragua, and they said those election was rigged. But our elections are so rigged, you got to have enough capital just to get on the ballot. And then even if you are on the ballot, they will prevent you from debating. Guys, in the so-called sham election in Nicaragua, do you know how many candidates was on the ballot? They had 6 opposition parties. In Venezuela, there's like 4 or 5. Sorry, guys, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I think Venezuela is like 4 or 5, right? So they literally more democratic than our country.
Right.
Is there a capitalist cap for them to get on the ballot? Guys, this stuff don't exist in other countries. Remember what John Lewis said? John Legend. John Legend, like, if Trump doesn't win, it'll be the end of our democracy. There's none.
There is none. There's none. And that's the big scam. No, let's bring it to. I guess we can bring it to an end. We went over a little bit, but it was a good show. No problem there. We did miss one of the stories, 1 or 2 of the stories because
it's crazy. We went over 2 hours without covering half of what.
Like we literally only hit one of the stories and then went off a couple of tangents. But thanks for everybody in the comments. Lots and tons of great comments. Saw JB, saw Sabrina. Saw Aaron in there, saw a lot of other great comrades. I think Quaker Socialist was also in there. Thank you for joining us here. Thank you for everybody on Facebook. Thank you for everybody on Rockfin. If you're able to support us, the scrolling moniker right there at the bottom have our direct support. Nick has his show. I'll let you talk about that in just a second. On Wednesday, I have my Straight Out of Politics. So join me here, 3 p.m. Eastern. What do you got coming up, Nick?
So yeah, make sure you guys hit the bell. Thank everyone for watching. So the algorithm has not been helpful for us. We only grew, and once again, I'm very static at the level we're at right now. But we only hit our level where we at because you guys shared, and we still got a lot to grow. We got a lot of ambition. We got a lot of great things planned next year. So we want to continue to grow. So you guys can share, let your friends know. Like once again, they don't have to be leftists. I'm telling you, let's get to your more apolitical friends. like
Yeah.
someone who's leans slightly liberal, slightly conservative.
Mhm.
Like it's gonna be hard to get to. Like if you got a friend that like hardcore into Ben Shapiro, yeah, they're probably they kind of far gone. But if you got, but most people, if you know that guy who like, yeah, I vote Democrat because I don't know any better or whatever, invite them to the show, man. Just
Invite
see if
them,
they like
please.
it, right?
Mhm.
That help us, man, because we're not gonna be pushed by the algorithm like the people in that Intercept article that are funded by the CIA and intelligence operators. So that means a lot from us. Support us on the Patreon as well. I got that in the description. So we completely relaunched our Patreon. So make sure you guys check that out. We got the link on that. That's the best way to support us. Also through Cashapp, Venmo, all that stuff. But the best thing you can do is share the stream, because I think we really want to build this movement. I think like even getting apolitical people, I'm really good at getting.
I'm for that. I'm
ready.
for that. I'm for changing minds. That's how you need to add. We already have leftists. We need more people. So I'm for bringing in more people.
CJ, there were people that reached out to me, especially after the General Strike Summit, and when I was on Jimmy Dore show, like, man, I'm more conservative, but man, I agree with Medicare for all. I agree with it. Like that's the stuff. That's how you win. Like when you get people who are apolitical, like when I tell you guys the story of my sister telling me that they're more interested in politics when they hear about the revolutionary spirit. That's how you win. That's what we gotta do. So share to a friend, share to the motherfucker who don't care. Say these people are weird. Listen to their politics. But thank you guys for watching. Any last words, CJ? That's all I have. International Leftists tomorrow on Tuesday. Once again, it's gonna be a good show. You guys see.
Yeah. No, that's all I got. So again, thanks everybody for joining us today. Nick, we can sign off, sir.
All right, take care, guys.